yebezi ewa ha. On it was for a message for 0244743143 0244743143 for bra. Na Israel and Tokwe Swe our effect ewo Ghana yani economy yenyim Russia Ukraine yenyim COVID Israel in Tokwe our effect looking into the perspective of yenya oil from these countries. His Excellency wa order the energy minister and then the finance minister the one more than to protect and the associate effect our economy no da ye besi den na da me entokwe ye yen we free mu ana onkenya that effect ewo yen do. Can we sustain the gains and the chalk in the energy sector petrol wa before? Is it sustainable? Some energy experts was the Atuga that there's the likelihood that petroleum product yebenya a surge in prices in it. Obendama, what happened next? So these are in common ahrowa eriabri other ponoda and the yeboshim na yepwepwim ewo ahade. Business economy na eshuman. You're streaming live ewo Facebook Kastle 90.3 FM. Then also on YouTube Kastle 90.3 FM. Minyumde and the in Kanzia no waba enti wo fie wo shop wo kamo odem erite fita ne pe ya somo pa light no call funya ye gina ye nado ya somo pa. On to be part of this conversation. Wabra won so join you on Facebook, YouTube. Na eja will comment, like the page, then share. The maso the very platform I did your messages in your room. If you are or you're active 0244743143 text message or WhatsApp message or you're active. Ewo aha. Ma yanden jumoku a wo share na san ende wi abri yanda wana se. O send so on yon wana enke wi abri yenjina ha ana yentina ha. Tell us too much money. Tell us the young control. The end yes, man for chop. We need money in our pocket. But it's obey possible or it tells us too much money promo. On the end for our own first be by dialing *500# *500# or visit Telcel Play app to opt in. Every day, able to win 100 Ghana cedis, 20,000 Ghana cedis weekly. Another, the 1.2 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Yes, you heard it. 1.2 million. Wasubotum edb. Na edego ukotokum. Just recharge or buy bundles of 5 Ghana cedis and above to get in the draw. The more you do, the better your chances of winning. Remember, it's *500# or visit the Telcel Play app. Telcel, connecting energies. High Sense 2025 January campaign Ogudara Orokodo on iti waso form feshemi bi na MD call High Sense one showroom across the 16 regions. Ghana ha all the regions. Ebenya High Sense one showroom ni bi ewo ho. On iti Mankesim Oben Blue Hills restaurant or Antiqua. A pure refrigerator, chest freezer, air conditioners, smartphone sound system. Eneza okeka bebre anything electronic for when you fetch him ewo High Sense one showroom. Fred 0302550000 0302550000. High Sense everyday prices for everyday people. The maso and a game pack cool chop game pack cool chop. As a Charlie, big cash out for game pack for mail. On into 18,000 winners, over 18,000. And then the year say weighs the 3.8 million Ghana cedis. Yes. On into our edging with the shemi bino, wasu a year or the 4 pa. Just pick one number. Nature, what's the unkokwa? Who wins in about 26 to 30 times was the ammo. Dial star 946 hash. Star 946 hash. Now play game pack cool chop. Also remember, game pack cool chop, pick one and pick 4 draw no. Or you're live on Game TV. And you can also join. Or join them on Facebook, then Instagram, and then also X. Game Park GH. Now, what's you win is can be? To make you chop life too sharp. Everybody suffer from glaucoma, cataract of the eye, blurred vision, eye pressure. When you know all your kusu. In what a test do a blood pressure de nyuano do. May careful biakrope among 31st Herbal Clinic or your eye specialist. Until I suffer from the conditions are yabu budin glaucoma, cataract of the eye, blurred vision, eye pressure. For you fetch him our 31st Herbal Clinic. Our eye specialist. Man kasim school kasim. Behind the mosque. The maso asin fosu fosu krom near Presby Church. Aguna Road bypass in Kubem. The maso doctor on 1st of July. Dr. Baba Uga, Dr. Baba Oye Cape Coast, Dr. Baba Kastle FM. Na Engri wasu aba na aba boshe winyi ewo ho. Frey Oye doctor ewo 0559 999543 again 0559 999543 na enyi doctor inzi inkomo wabra suffer from oye enua yerebe biara and erifum ewo glaucoma, cataract of the eye, blurred vision, and then also eye pressure. Or your 31st Herbal Clinic, eye specialist. Ono ene ye don komo. Cape Coast ade you you're all close to Kastle FM here. Cocoa Depot ho, eho ebohuan ewo ho. Nti fonyi fetche me na wasu kohwe wenyi ewo ho. The first part of the show no enjumoku ahuri ena warboa ema yezi jumezi yezi abro. Later on oyaza Betway ena fi Lunat wonyina so warboa maba na mebezi won ho nkomo mese achrew. Aha Kastle 90.3 FM. Memma no hodo ena ya tena do once again but mensene mo akwa bebio mezini de kwamena esuman. Join on all our social media handles na waso for wadwinche for Fobra. As well on WhatsApp, then also on text message 0244743143. Now, Mami called the fallout of the NPP in the meeting Wakre, and then the communique was the Ababontin. Wabra, after the communique, Ora Boachi Ejakoso questioned the party on the decision we take ewo. So let me read ewo ha na yentum na yenzi inkomo ewo eho. Ose when you record the fallout of the meeting enida okrodo enti the communique the party executives after the meeting will release ewo ho. Ose New Patriotic Party to hold presidential primaries on 31st of January 2026. Set up planning committee for annual National Delegate Conference to consider proposed amendment to the party constitution and related matters. The New Patriotic Party has scheduled its presidential primaries for 31st January 2026 to elect the party's 2028 presidential candidate. This crucial decision was taken by the party's National Council pursuant to Article 13(1) of the NPP's constitution, which mandate the council to fix date and venue for the election of the party's presidential candidates. The meeting of the National Council was held on Tuesday, 17th of June 2025, to deliberate on the party's rebuilding exercise, including the organization of the upcoming annual National Delegate Conference, where the party is expected to consider proposed amendments to the party's constitution. The Frank Davis-led Constitution Amendment Committee submitted a compilation of the amendment proposals it received from the party members and identifiable groups to the General Secretary for onward circulation to regional and constituency secretariats of the party in line with Article 19B of the Constitution ahead of the Delegates Conference. The committee also presented their report to the National Council, where the committee recommended to National Council to fix an early date for the conduct of presidential primaries based on the overwhelming proposals from party members and the executive and the extensive stakeholder engagement they held. After extensive deliberations, National Council overwhelmingly adopted the committee's report, particularly the aspects relating to the presidential primaries, which was strongly argued to be the best approach to urgently fill the apparent leadership vacuum in the party's reorganization drive. National Annual Delegate Conference. In respect of the organization of the annual National Delegate Conference, the party constituted a nine-member conference planning committee to spearhead the operations for the conference, which is scheduled to take place at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium from 18th to 20th July 2025. Committee members composed as follows: Honorable Joseph Owusu, Chairman; Haruna Mohammed, Secretary; Charles Dramina, Member; Henry Nanabuachi Esquire, Member; Divine Otu Agohum, Member; Honorable Abena Osei Asari, Member; Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib, Member; Hajia Safia Mohammed, Member; Salam Mustafa, Member. The party implores all 8 members, particularly delegates to the conference, to pursue the amendment proposal to be circulated by the General Secretary, which shall be reduced into amendment motions by the Constitution Amendment Committee to guide the consideration and debate at the extraordinary National Delegate Conference. Now, they also talked about the Ablekuma North primary elections, but I will not go there. But I'm sure though. Also, Patriotic Institute, that is the party school. The party has scheduled 25th June 2025 for the official inauguration of the NPP Ideological Institute. The institute will, among other things, be providing education to party members, particularly office holders, on the party's philosophy, values, history, and political strategy, in line with the party's center-right philosophies, which underpins the foundation or the founding of the NPP tradition. So, signed by Justin Kodua Frimpong, the party's general secretary. So, this is the fallout of the NPP. Wani meeting now, after this, Owura Boakye Ejako, no so de a questionnaire. I'll call it a questionnaire because he was questioning the decision of the party. So also statements on the sequence of NPP internal election, a call for sanity and strategic order by Mr. Boachi Ejako, NPP flag bearer hopeful. Now, also I have followed with keen interest and deep concern the outcome of the National Executive Committee meeting held on Tuesday, 17 June 2025 in Accra, where it was announced that the party will hold polling station executive elections on 6th of December 2025, followed by the flag bearer election on 31st January 2026, while deferring election for electoral area coordinators, constituency, regional and national executive to date yet to be announced. Let me state without menacing words, this decision is strategically unsound, politically indefensible, and organizationally reckless. I will take it again. Also, let me state without menacing words, this decision is strategically unsound, politically indefensible, and organizationally reckless. Will you roof a building before laying a foundation? What manner of political logic is this? Where in any world, be it politics, construction, or common sense, do you install a roof before laying a foundation? How does a serious political party plan to elect a presidential candidate before renewing or replacing very party structure, coordinators, constituency executives, regional and national offices that are meant to support and drive that candidate's campaign? It is a recipe for confusion, conflict, and collapse. Hard question for Nick. It's a question of Orbisa, the National Executive Committee. I respectfully challenge the NEC to answer the following question, or the following hard but necessary questions. What compelling reason justifies this revised order of elections? Which elected officers will coordinate the flag bearer election when the party's middle and upper structural organs remain unchanged? How will the flag bearer campaign be owned and supported by structures that may be outdated, inactive, or unrepresentative of current grassroots sentiment? Are we attempting to compromise the democratic will of our base in favor of elite convenience? What message are we sending to party faithful and the Ghanaian electorate about our internal coherence and readiness for 2028? Is it not a deliberate attempt to tilt the playing field, lock in vested interest, and stifle genuine competition? Dangerous departure from logic and tradition. The NPP has always prided itself on order, process, and bottom-up empowerment. The grassroots, the polling station, executive, electoral area coordinators, and constituency officers are the heart of this party. We build from the ground up, not from the top down. This sudden reversal of procedure is align to our political culture and global democratic norms. It must be said plainly, this is politically opportunism masquerading as strategy. If we truly intend to win power in 2028, we must not start the journey with internal confusion and illogical sequencing. A clarion call to correct course. I call on the NEC and all meaning stakeholders of the NPP to immediately revisit and reverse this timeline. Let us conduct the executive election from polling stations upward in sequence, and only then, after our structures are legitimately in place, proceed to elect our flag bearer. This is not just a matter of fairness, it is a matter of electoral viability and party survival. The current roadmap is a strategic suicide note. Let's not sign it. We owe it to the party, we owe it to our history, and above all, we owe it to Ghana. Let's lay the foundation before we raise the flag. Signed, Boachi Ejako, NPP Flag Bearer Hopeful, 18th June 2025. So these are the fallout of the NPP's National Executive Committee meeting and a response from Ora Boachi Ejako questioning the decision of the party. Yarechedi ebenya impemfo ahrubi na yenyone zinkomo on this matter on inti Tamichuku. We will cross over to US na yekezi inkomo if possible ahomanu toma wanye nsha yebohwe fie na yezi nkomo kakra ewo fie. Jawa pra watina say bra penyin ya bro ba wade dimpa onye easy. Ewal akaba
senior what I say
bibi aboko
I don't know more boy come na baby I am look on the pay na even ko presidential level wadaroma
when you ko presidential level
musensi on kakanka ja awu try to make say my musini
obi kana asam na dadona ba me dey fear boko
ya me budu she nti bibia oyezenze but what bia im dey obogwala
politically I want us to look at political marketing, political strategy. I want us to look at these two. The fallout of the NPP's meeting.
Minchia itefu woti en de ya bring na minchia ifira honorable Ejeku. Now, Father's Day, yezi in Chile, you come now. Yeah, yezi Father's Day.
Yezi. So, happy belated Father's Day to you. Sunday, yes, Sunday. Ejeku will be so a question. You declined to, in a way, answer. I was monitoring you.
I answered. I will face for the politics.
The same tactics.
Yes, come now. Yeah, we be being required. Political marketing and political strategy. I think that urban strategies are obia one strategy or employ. In fact, in yesteryears or times gone by, Abrana ikro ahuru no nya amana ahuru wokokono. You realize that there are some obia kwakwa or ne strategy or the kwakun. Now, in this time and era, no, we don't fight with guns and machetes, but we fight with ideas and ideologies. I think that the MPP over time, no, the MPP as a party with a tradition, party with a certain structure, party with a certain group of people who to stand up to the established norm. And it's a cast your mind, even when there was a military president or military rule, we found some men who decided we will stand up and speak up. And I think that's only Azar, the MPP for that Motibiano, they are people they always find their voice regardless. And they have a way of doing their things. MPP for one assembly. In fact, I say one assembly because I'm not a cardinal member of their party. So if I say one assembly, you should bear with me.
Yeah, I saw you MPP for one assembly.
Yes. And it's helpful sometimes. Yeah. One assembly, I wish that MPP be and you can say before I comment.
Yeah, we try. Yeah. Place a cause until we are trying to get them. Then it is in community. You can make your comments.
By the way, in the absence of that, say urban general business and organization. It will be a friend organizational structure.
Yes.
And organogram. Advisory council and a governing board. Then you come down to the chief executive officer, the MD. Then you go down and down and down to get to the last person. Them also. In business, we are taught that there are 3 levels of an organizational structure. There is the top level executive, middle level, and the low level executive. And if you take that now, a business either runs a top-down approach or top-bottom approach, another it runs a bottom-top approach. Over time, political parties in this country have always run a bottom-up approach. This year, the MPP itself, in times past, polling station elections were called electoral area, constituency to regional to national before the parliamentary and the presidential. There's a saying that if it is not broken, don't fix it. Now, before we say that changes will be a certain need must necessitate changes a happen inti si wo fie na se nkan ne ye kona yezi enaza se bibia ansi na kona yezi enaza no o men result a hwehwe why there or the say kona yezi enanyama. So if I look at the release the obey out of their meeting the first question I ask myself is that oye abasam na wesi inti na wojina do a woye these new changes oye abasam na wesi, so there must be a need for you to effect the change into abasam na wesi. Come now, the MPP went into an election and lost, and now it has become history in Ghana. But before even we go on to the MPP, listen, the NDC went into an election in 2016 with a certain president. Naraso Asansoa contested him and lost. The NDC did not panic. They did not change their structure. They did not change their approach. They maintained their approach, but changed certain personalities and personnels. And that got them the result was here in 2024. Is it the case that the MPP is panicking now? Or a question, Mbisa. Is it the case that the New Patriotic Party is panicking? Because if you look at what is happening now, it looks as though they are being reactionary to Maosi in the 2024 elections. And what happened? Walker election, they lost by a huge margin, over 1.7 million votes in the Wolusi. Wolusi, what you expect is that the party will go back and then they look at why Wolusi re-strategize and come back into the 2028 elections. Now, Boache Jaku says that this strategy was strategically unsound, politically indefensible, and organizationally reckless. As to whether it is strategically unsound, politically indefensible, that I don't think is for me to say, but I can speak to the organizationally reckless. Because listen, see, you make decision be one strategy, that is, your polling station, your funko electoral, your funko constituency, your funko regional, national and presidential and parliamentary. You're having 2000 elections. You're having 2008 elections. You're having 2016 elections. You're having 2020 elections. So that is how many elections? 4. As opposed to the same strategy, no, there's a election may they lose in 2008, in 2012, in 2024. We have lost how many elections in the strategy? 3. Into Ochada into Yeshema. If we use the same strategy, we get more results than you lose elections. So what is the rush or what has necessitated the change? In football, yes, you don't change a winning team. Or if you have a winning formation or a strategy, you don't change that. So if you do a cursory analysis of just the mathematics of the number of elections them strategy as 2024 you find that you win more elections than you lose elections. Or perhaps if you stretch it and take it back to 96 ABR was it is equal or a bracket. So what is causing the change? Is it the case that the MPP, leadership of the MPP now is panicking? That's one. The next question you want to ask is that, is it because to favor somebody? Because now you say, elect president, and I presidential elections in and sana, abeye, electoral, and the constituency, regional, and all of them. But if that is the case, then what we are picking is that, say, elect presidential candidate in India, you will have influence in deciding on who becomes a regional executive, constituency executive, electoral executive, polling station executive.
So the information that we are picking is that the polling station executive elections will be done on the 6th of December 2025.
Okay.
6th of December 2025.
Okay.
Then the presidential will be on the 31st of January 2026. Then Ansani about coordinators, constituency, regional, and national executives.
But what type of planning? What type of organizational planning is this? Now, what type of organizational planning is this? It's a question there. Is it to favor somebody or not? Because say I and Musa, then you stand the risk of there. If it is everything is done to favor the presidential candidate, it means that the whole party is now controlled by one person, and that is dangerous. So Sebio or take decision be and now or ye BBR. Members of the party now about to aba in the general elections one pair who will stand up and say it to his face. But come like yet to a people cannot speak truth to power. So Obande it be or tumbia. Usually one away generation want to kind of current. It is ye BBR or favor one person. Or favor one person in a political party. No, ochede them in pokron obowa, then everybody toes that same line. But in every organization, you need people who can be bold enough to stand against the establishment. Because then you get different ideas. But if national executives, Yanchen, near to obey president then you be national executive. Now, elections in our bena, or cheddar or form some interim committee be. Now, was a presidential elections in Anna. That interim committee, one of the form that interim committee. Is it the outgoing the executives? No, but form that interim committee, Nana. At the time we form that interim committee, is it the case that we be in confer or be favor because they will run again? So these are issues, when you look at the line that the MPP is towing now, I don't think it will help. But
you believe that, I mean, or a deliberate strategy that what tilt I don't know to a certain
Oh, come now, I'm just thinking aloud and I'm asking questions.
Yeah, I'm also deducing from, I mean, what you're saying and then what Boache Jaku also brought.
Yes. Because listen, the man uses some harsh word to hard word. See, this is political opportunism parading as strategy. What is political opportunism? You see, one way the politics a church, they can tell that what is going on is to favor one a presidential candidate. They can tell. And now I said this without fear or favor, that what they are doing will favor one presidential candidate. So why them then they have sold the party to one person. And that is dangerous to our democracy generally as a nation. Because listen, you need a strong party in power to form government and an even stronger opposition. Until 2028, none of us know what will happen. But granted that Seattle Abana NDC wasn't so we win number in 2028, and the MPP is the opposition. If one person is controlling the party as at that time, can they tell us as MPP that there will be a strong opposition? And even if Seattle Abba granted that NPP will win and NDC work opposition in 2028, it is one man whose decision overrides every other person. In Tono told this line we are going, Yen told that line we are going. Because already, if you take the national executives, you know, when you elect to announce and will be elected president. So more or less, the president had control in deciding who becomes a national executive. Then where are we going? Say, Oko baby are on tonight. One and all Obakachi and the baby on ye.
Because he has a control.
Because he has control. He more or less become like a supreme leader. What I say is law. And all of these things stand against the very reason or the essence of the new patriotic party. Because the new patriotic party that I have read about, when there is a time of struggle, when there is a time of need, war, misunderstanding, another yenyo obia ojiwa nobody obia ntum kanasama. That is when a certain group of people decided that yanzi yabaka yanwa abomne yakasamno. So now they are moving from becoming a group of people or a party who stand with the lowest ebb of society into becoming a party. It is controlled by one person, what one person says, and that's all. What happened to divergence, views, and ideas? So if you ask me, I think that in terms of even running a business, this strategy, what's the number two business? Business I don't have a board. That is the national executive. Me board be which will steer the affairs. Make a regional manager.
Kastle FM 90.3 heavy.
No, I say. Make a managing director be one region be. But two company fine national everywhere. But national executive, that is a board. I don't have any of them. But I'm a regional manager. Now, but report to one. A company some to a sole proprietorship or a mankuti medima. So clearly, whatever went into this decision, it is clear and obvious that we skew the party for one person. But the danger of that is that it will rather create more chaos than unity and harmony in our MPP worship moving forward into the 2028 election. Because then, obi tinechira kada na sisiare eyi okasa obi antum nkebiana. And at every point in time there are not divergent views. Inti yekeshe de ma yen yae baba no them asem kuya na eka enyum kuya na eto even when we know that them asem na enyum na eto olumbo party no it will rather inflate passions maybe kade na you pay feed or a good nti ye boto aman na mom because of machinations bi na azinti we kai dem impay aba
we saw a sort of that at the last
election.
Yes,
yeah, will be, and that is what has caused the 38 or 41%. I think the EC says, I mean, they had 40 or 41% also. That is what has caused it. For a party, what to Abamon Kofu one way fuzzy, I think that in Jodo Wenyabutel, now was start if you are CBM, now was a forcer. A start if you are here, allow the people themselves. More decide there. Come next year, immediately you may able to wire. Into your for organizer man. Cosime says ye immediate or imkasa. Into a for communication officer on for man. And then they build it up themselves. That way, no. So why even a weak presidential candidate in power? It is easier because Obia and Yanwonta sin and now to him there. Oh, elections here is a free and fair. Into Yanka out, Nyanka campaign for this presidential candidate. But is if you throw not say as a bar. Not say a bit fee there. There has been some machinations being on some undercut dealings being as if you were ma. Rather no, or what you wage and chat on no may be no cage positioner. Or what do there in below okay campaign no way you know wage and chat. I won't ask in there about to my into far from coffee anyone okay.
Certain people one for one now come out.
No. Look at the letter written by Bachi.
Yeah.
He's blue true and true. Bachi Jaku is blue true and true, or MPP true and true. And if he writes such a letter, and don't forget that he is Obia of Superdog contest for the 2028 presidential election. Don't forget, he's not the only person.
Yes, we have other people who are interest.
Actually, the lead up to the 2024 election now. For instance, here in Japan, in Sembi Ohumpa Okikenya, to the effect that some people are hijacking the party for one person. This Demazi, Wame lose election in 2024. You are going down the same path. Is it the case that currently the leadership of the NDC, the MPP, with the greater respect, won't see a Bibiana? Won't see a Bibia from Lucia or Lucy Mana? Because I think that most of us start to worry when you're amazing. I don't think that we're seeing Bibia, respectfully. But on Kechi, Ramna, on Kechi, this is something that they can reverse immediately. On Kechi, immediately they can go back into conclave and decide that, oh, man, I'm a Samubwa. Yasi say an adwin. Yabasansi start from the ground. Near a fossil. Because one young damza, I can bet you, and it won't take even a year. We will come back and sit here. Near discuss what is happening in the New Patriotic Party. But come in the New Patriotic Party, no. Look, things are happening, no. People are not happy. People are not happy. People are not happy because of certain actions by this current leadership here we are.
I mean, I don't understand why what people want with this election, whereas they have an amendment to do in their constitution.
So, see?
They have an amendment to do.
See?
In their constitution, a proposed amendment will to one amount. So, why not doing all these technical, then?
You see, because so amendment to do part, and thank you for that. So amendment to do their constitution in part.
Because people were calling that the superdelegate conference it should be
on scrapping.
Yes. So they should be looking at all these things. If the presidential, you're being a wholesale, you're being mama, even to the grassroots, Obian share any idea as to who to be our leader. I think people will support with their whole heart. Rather than, I mean, what you the main for choosing a leader.
and I agree with you, Kamla. Say, amendment to your constitution here. This year, no, current state, see any more than 5 presidential candidates, non-year superdelegate conference. Yes. Before Ansana was on number 5, no, I the conference. why not do the amendment first? And let the amendment cater for some of these issues, like superdelegate conference, yen scrapping, yen blame for every member of the party. We to reduce corruption in
yes.
so that even the candidate now can stand for election in po. One way to make one, so that they don't spend as much as they used to spend.
We are yet to see another superdelegate conference.
Yes, we'll see another one. I've come about the president is in president. This is the MPP. In first time, 10 years when last time, some time ago when you're 17. So in the MPP, a lot of people want to be president. So the same problems are nada when you know if care is not taken out. We'll be the same problems in the run up to the 2028 election. But I'm thinking that what they are thinking, the reason why we take this decision, one of the things they are thinking is that see a 2 year in Tama, then Mobe Sibiano, we have about 2 years able to amend the all challenges of Benazina. But when you know there are going to be challenges are able to avert now, why do it to have that challenges in the first place? Frankly speaking, champion for since you've been away in Assam, Jayenzi offer young bang, but offer young because say MPP is strong, not NDC is strong, not political parties organ in our way stronger. Then as Ghanaians yakoto aba, then we have a host of options to choose from. Near immediately me able choose in Ibiano oba, obotum wa ye jumapa, or in shepape guquem, no abogana manu. But so can there one party no in your may, no other party is one here when you may in a BBI bus so ma. It's like we having a one party state because you're there got to Abana, more no higher than no in your maid. Oh no, Obowina man, and that is not good for our democracy. That is not good for our democracy. So in the interest of all Ghanaians, no, o me yin na yen fa yan ntu asemi mu bi. Ne yin na yen ka bi. O send there, so political party be our Ghana, and especially the MPP and the NDC government. Sometimes we sit down and third force. In the current circumstance, third force. So we are stuck with these two.
Yes.
The MPP and the NDC now. So if we don't and to me my MPP and the NDC why strong political parties are what propose strong policies are, then in the long run no. I mean, I won't even though I won't get NDC MPP membership card and get NDC membership card. But on them there, party is strong. No one to share was Babano. On Shadan yes strong in tea. Then you realize that a man in nature and oracle. I mean, I will a brand ebre. It will mean I am boom. And look at helping all political parties to, as it were, become stronger, which will in the long run affect you and I. But respect you come if you ask me, me feel that them lying part they were too easy, especially on this election season. Me only imagine one thing more. I am happy that me see on in there also obey a patriotic school be. That one yeah, I'm happy because you see, say if he ikrobi do ana ebusuebim na inyim ebusia na mambre ne nhihye ne ntotoa oma sel ka ho asam ana etutua na manua etumi tutu ne intino there are a lot of members of the party no wonyim what the party is done for moi mind was a party no a new patriotic party young colors here blue red and white into what you solo kan no is achieving. You know, but when they understand truly that in a party not stand for, they will go the extra mile to defend the party and even fight for the party. You know, that is when you get more committed persons for political party. As it stands now, no, back in there, because there are few people are watching the party now, you know, those are the people they are enjoying, who are enjoying. Because they understand the culture of the party, the tradition of the party, the structure of the party, the spirit of the party. They understand it. So as for them, no, for two more fine ways. God, there are even some opportunities in the party. Essential, be oh baby, essential. Onya intasi what the party stand for. And you will know that you also deserve ABC. There, you can also run for some position with these ideas to help the party. Into them school, nezi, in the NDC for YB. And I can see that we're born when you're a lot of young people now, the forefront are World War party, which in the future will help the party. So the MPP is going to toe that line to her. I am happy that they are going to teach their young ones, the ways of their party, because Esha, the MPP then, the first is a new patriotic party. Then the kind of or the caliber of people are what but line up the new patriotic party. If we are being sincere to ourselves, it has reduced. One the caliber of people, the MPP then and the MPP now,
The party with intellectuals.
No. If you compare the two, it has reduced. Respectfully speaking, into Sanko from Penfusu, they should go back and do things right. And if the MPP is stronger, I'm sure that they will give the NDC a run for their money, and in the long run, the economy is going to benefit. I mean, I will benefit. I thank you.
All right. Ebusa ijo wane yete nenkano yerehwe de yenye nana obiribuahin bezi enkomo the former general secretary of the party nana obiribuahin yenye bezi enkomo on this same issue yegudun so yehwe de yenesa baka one of these professors from University of Cape Coast nso yenye enkomo from the fallout of the NPP NEC meeting and the Okrodo, and then the responses are horrible, or the structure of the party, and they free. They no. What they are bringing on board, Onyaza Obotumu Abwa. Now, also messages in 0244743143, 0244743143, and a text message, another WhatsApp message for Bra Nayenzi in Komo. Text message, another WhatsApp message, 0244743143, 0244743143. You are an NPP member, NPP communicator, NPP serial caller. But make me there was atibi. Are you pleased with it? Are you pleased with it? Zamekani, are you pleased with it, Anna? 0244743143. My message is in Mbra na yenko yenenyim ewoho. My message is in Mbra. Joel, do you think there the other presidential aspirants, like what Boache Jako Nunsuwaba can view on the fallout of the meeting, once they should bring out their views, maybe perhaps the party leadership will have a second look at the decision that they have taken?
No, they will bring out their views. I'm very sure that Ubia or run for election, they will bring. I'm sure. Actually, about 2-3 days, you will hear from the camp of Kennedy Japan. I'm very sure you will hear from the camp of Kennedy Japan.
The showman, the showdown man.
You see, because if say one for one and two more, then it's a decision that has been taken by the party, the executive of the party, and so it will hold. This is a time of they bias in gym. Everybody up there only the MPP biano. They should go down and explain these things to the average MPP member. Because it's strategically unsound. I agree with Boache Jako. It's strategically unsound. How? It's not consistent. How
the structure is not built and you want to roof it?
I don't be a question. How do you roof a non-existent building?
Yes.
How? There, me elect what? Me elect electoral area for. No major national. No major polling station.
Major region.
No may elect presidential. Why? Did they do any research to arrive at this conclusion? But MPP executives now, the national executive, they should come and tell us that Abazino Okrom or arrive at this conclusion. Or Abazino Okrom. Now, what to arrive at this conclusion? Have they realized that electoral area fund they can easily be influenced by the presidential candidate? Internet what tackle electoral area no. Another why a research be a who there sabi o party ni mun se okoto aba electoral area fund no won hu here pa into yan hwan one executives in first. Mentasi. Grandma Mentasi, and at this point, I'm only asking questions. Mentasi, I disagree with them entirely. They should either go back, the old ways of doing things, or if they are looking at doing things new ways, then it should follow what we call a chronological order, so that with the greatest of respect, it can make more sense. There, ABM Infinitra, which is the parliamentary and presidential, by national to regional and all of that. And also there, we start from polling station, rise up to the regional to the national, and then we elect the presidential and the parliamentary. That will be better. Because all over the world, maybe we elect electoral area for no we elect presidential and parliamentary. If you answer we key national executive, that banner obotuna one obosho one bombra. Electoral area for one obosha a presidential as in a bombra. So it's a non-starter, respectfully.
All right. A high Kastle 90.3 FM member on Chebia the political actors will join, then we'll move to other issues and they are on board that we'll be discussing. Good afternoon, Kamina. Kudos. Okay, also Kondia knows that he and other national executive will lose their position if they do the elections from down. That is why he wants to do the flag bearership position first, Kojo Tantre. Okay. Do you agree with him? Also, Justin Kodua from Podium there, the current national executive, because I remember Yanyi, the first vice chair of the party, Yanyi Zin Komo Ewaha na Orkade. The party leadership executive will fail. And Obi Biara Oba bid for another election. One true one out, including Nangasa.
No,
but could you believe that Konya had lost already? And he said, "Wakoto from down on a bottom down approach in the bar, Onya." And see, in a way, one secure the presidential with the ambition another Obia, so that if a Bruce Wakoto Abana, what you want to cry, they have a core. Oh.
I think it's a sound argument to make, but for some of us, before I ever come to the conclusion of able to win and able win and able losers, we rely on data and research. For Justin Kodia in particular, we can look at some things that from Justin Kodia, one annoying contest. That's one thing you should look at. Where is Justin Kodia from? Ofiaba region. Nimpa contest in Nusufi Aba region. When a bienina Aba assume na was assume party and in terms of Nimpa obeying as presidential candidate, one relationship with a person or to them. So there are a lot of factors share and sign able to yakade able lose and able. But one thing I can promise and I know for a fact is that many of the national executive will lose. Many of them. Many of them will go. But so Odru Hode, CMB them analysis on the presidential, the national executives of the party, Mobotum will lose, no Mobotum will maintain. Oh no, do I come now? An opportunity now. Ever be analysis.
Engineer Shamaba, why do we wait until serial callers are in crisis before we listen to them? Don't talk, just act. Don't say, just show. Don't promise, just prove it. Greetings to Mayor George Justice Arthur and Engineer Opoti Road, Metro Road Engineer, Urban Road, CCMA. Blueprints, Mamenkano won't show the Ewaha. The NPP, as a matter of one, must not do anything that will worsen our plight going into the 2028 general election, because we must win that election by hook or crook. That's why this top-bottom approach for the internal elections must be looked at. Greetings to Honorable Kennedy Ejapon, the incoming president, and Honorable Catherine Afeko, the national women's organizer in waiting. Teacher Kujo Chiobodom Adanse. Okay, today we are not talking about Dumso Levy here. Let's move ahead. Okay. I agree with the minority urging Supreme Court nominees to be guardians of fundamental laws, not instrument of executive convenience because Mahama and NDC are setting up a bad precedence in our judiciary on Chief Justice Tokunu issue and packing Supreme Court with NDC lawyers. Okay, but that's it. All right, but you good idea, Humano. De Yanisa Baka Nana Obriboyen na Inyezi in Como. Why showing the onion Bakasa, but then you good idea, Humano. Yanisa Kana, Busy in Como. Ewoho. I had Kastle 90.3 FM. Mamucha Mombra too. Na Eba and Common Keno. Okay. No more 5 minutes for course, Anna. Okay. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I'm picking just 5 callers. Good afternoon. Yes, sir. All right.
MPP when you it makes him is the best.
Electing flag bearer.
Every member of the party belong to the polling station. Every member of the party belong to the polling station. Into the polling stations here, what were a way leader passing the way. But old position, polling station be a national issue. If I tell only also belong to the polling station, was also what national okay. Then you can also belong to police station or a regional executive or it belongs to the police station.
But Papa, what is the structure of the party?
The structure of the but other elections are your police station from the way leader. Party belong to. It's a police station.
Yes.
That's an important leadership of the board or belong to the police station. Go to a police station and let a leader to vote for you. Everyone, you never hear executive member. We are police station vote for and executive members do I don't know what to. It's bad. I have passed for civilian as I don't know why. You see, if that's the best thing. You see, I will say the program here. But tell my chef is the best of all.
Oh, okay. To you, it's the best of all.
Yes.
All right. Let us see, Papa. Oh, sorry. All right. But before two being called 0244408046 0244408354. But before 102 being called young Comra. Now, young coin in him 0244408046 0244408354. Good afternoon.
Yes, young governor.
Yeah, Aban. Okay.
Aban, MP from executives where the Mala, why you are to Kofuma, one Casabwak, will you? Come, me and Kadi will start for your friend. Police station now with our connection. We say that we didn't Kaya. Now, what you are listening to, President Castle national. And Mamura, Edgar Pass and the Empire Pass will go to one so will look in the prep. The gun in this made up. You have Navy. Do I will be
okay. But I say, it's a good afternoon, but this is surprising. No, seriously. So, how would the polling station executive election be held? I'm Kofi TD from Times I see electoral area, Gatings to lawyer Charles Kiku Kwanza, the youth MP for Cape Coast South, incoming. All right, Mami, for just one last caller encounter. Nah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kwame Suman.
No, Kwame, I'm not
I'm Kwame Ramadasi. I'm Kwame Mumman Tuata. I'm Kwame Nemewa. Where's MP before I share nominating? Where's I saw anything? No, that Beludia. You tell my data. Then now to read that, where's I saw an answer to community. So, but the man of Chef Bank executive. I can't know within Kawako to Abano. Number one, I saw a national Abada. And then people want to show the Bewa. Or you nominated the Moya and Namanan. But I say.
Okay. All right. Mekada just 3 callers. Menya 3 callers, you know. And see, ma mincha mombre too. Yaba na easy in Como. I have Kastle 90.3 FM. Member no hold. Father Casford, Antimansa, And you were the one wa ha you busy come on. Maybe CCR.
Powder. Loco show. This advert is FDA approved.
Fan say what the 1 Ghana cedi, ebedi 30 Ghana cedis. Cool chop. And I say 30 Ghana cedis, ebedi 300 Ghana cedis. Cool chop. Na 100 cedis bet there, and no crowd here easy crowd. The inkunim 30 times, e wo yibako agudi anymore. Near here say obey abapano, e free otariki to ebimu. E matter to 6 e womu, ama wedding kunim. Na anya enun kwana no, bobako, and I say bo e 9 impreno. Debia, nanya 2 Ghana cedis free. Wumpe we na upet dial star 946 hash. Na shasi e bonus siya. Enele ensa eshe game pack akudi anymore. Enye mawana wondi if you do watching.
Say donut, 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 donut. Hey, donut, 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 donut. Donut, donut. Then come cut up donut, donut, donut. Malaria super donut. Everybody follow not sa malaria. A 3D till donut now. Wogonto malaria chill. Wohopopo. What win the day? I want the num donut. A dabako. Num donut. A damienu. Num donut. A damiensa. Num donut. No. Lonat scatter malaria. Lonat ide scatter malaria.
A quality product from Blaze GVS Pharma. Yenshishemu hu se malaria wa umojam ansana wanum lona. Na nam yensearch na malaria no daso wo ho a ko hu dokota.
This advert is FDA approved.
Kastle FM 90.3. We chat.
All right, we say my minister mo akwa baby o high Kastle 90.3 FM. Me man hodo jumezi eni eguda easy enkomo. Na the antimansa watena se ma me man akwa ba. Na bo me na me mbo.
Yeah.
Akwa ba.
Yeja.
Bibi aboko.
Oh, nyame na dum na na ehu mobor. Ina na nanom so hon mboa ka na yankopon ho. Yeta semende wa about the 18th of June ana no chere nyame wa bebre ama nimpa ye wa asase do. On the day be am ka be the hospital or upon chonu nso kaka ne wenyi ontumonu. But how nyame aye wa dom. Erenum mframa refon eye de nesa anda nyame asa ebe pamna na peda kada nyame nyi wenzi ni ana onyame nyi na ezini ye ti ozi kameden da so sem zimira za obosro ni asase asemi wo we wa
wo krom wo fu na I don't know.
Okay, na mrefo wa kwenye edu mechi wankasa etina gododo.
Just 3 minutes pe.
Ana American. Me time na mpa ezima mpa mafaka kra. Sunday me for wa kwenye edu na mechi o. Na mechia media houses awo central region na one management ni na kamechi wo CEO. Abaka Wednesday mamba nti wo meja no eyinimentu ma mo woni bi. Eje bia ye eja ma wa wo mo wimpo ye eja nti me ba kan de nyame nkodo nombo hon nombo won ho ban no masika oyedru ombre wo nkotoku no wontum na won ye won aseza o chede wo ye eja because aseze no yeden ohia na mechia usi osu wa friend den edina butwe kwasa nkon kakra katakranka ehumye no da wasi yenko yemba oni ntina ye wanwo ofa ne putinsi mekwa hada meye asafu panyin wo edina nyampa na etiba asafu so wakada bi asafu yin panyin a o chede ikro no ho na wo boban no wo mpanyinfu no nyame ina oni wa ma kwanye ma musuma yede ma abaka ho bi There be said that menti ama owo de na no. Wo ye ne dan na waraka da na kodwoko ni on bezi. On be da on be yankonta. Wo so mbubu ankonta. Wa abazo nchene no ho ana medase.
What's when Bubu afi Bakatun moments ase.
My men can't mention. I didn't know ever dinner. What's why I know man someone?
Yes.
At the mizin.
Yeah, no man son.
Now no man son on one. Ebi saneda. You chrono ran no one and no man some Mohami ya no man seni. Nti me ye crowra. Etasa me ya no man seni me ye crowra. Nti sa no man seni mukwaha. Na man brass no mu busy mu kro ma afia. Na si meba. Na no kodwoko nua tobosro oya meba. Cause me ya no man seni. Nti na waka da ikro bia wo ho na wutuhin wusihin. Ano man safo ye nyampa na etiba. Iye ne yisihin yituhin. Iye nso na edina kro no oye heniza. Nti se ebedina kro man waka da ano man sa abosum nyina ye ho anom dia. Oye nyampa na etiba za. Nti sa abosum oye 76 ewa. Oye nyampa na etiba dia. Ni kro no ho anom dia.
Nyampa na etiba. Na wa ye kroma na se ikro no ramo monsi ase a.
Na se me ye kroma. Na moba. Na no kodwoko no ayembo. Yampa na etiba yan de hia nti ne papa nem. Na ne meba meka che meba de. Ta ma aso all day mpayin fo a wo fa akomche. Won brass do de wo pay. Na se mu mo mpay a no no nkwa hin.
Okay.
E no to di biem. Nche na yes ya region. Ya region azemo hona. Aha na problem no. E region azemo hona. E so mbe yan kontai.
Ye mfensi ha.
Ebe kwamra mama kakra nkan.
Ye mfensi ha oyi ye mfensi ha.
Wo se kroma afio.
Ye mfensi ha.
Kwamra mama
afashe nudu ye bedi won komo. Ye bedi won komo.
Yes. Ikrobia wo ho a kasesim. Ana. Sentum ho asa one nche de eriche wa adwen wo bonodo.
Okay.
O wa kwanya koni bia afode ye den ode kire na adwen. Mete da ma asemi, ma ye ma adwen de. Da oye na kodwoko nua, oye na tobosro, na kodwo tobosro. Onam do ye mabani nti. Maba fada ma kwanya edu. Na mehia menti amana, anamu nuanum mbayimfu na woye ye kire no.
Okay.
Na me bi so hwan. Na mo so mo sede ye de tutun ma asomdwe oba.
Okay.
O se na anu je hia ntutumba.
But that's
oye won wa adwene kire. Nti adwene kire so fobu inim. Ite wi a na mo sede oda na ede tun edaten. Na mama ite fata as the ikro ne ye anomansaman.
All right.
Anomansaman no so nyampa na etiba monukru.
But I say na naboam na membo. Na wan so for na naboam na membo.
Na mezinyan.
Father Gasford.
Ejesume.
Akaba.
Ya enua.
Ya bibi aboko.
Ya boko.
Ede mi ase.
Ya boko.
Ede mi ase.
Fetch din sampaba.
Fetch din sampaba.
Din sampaba. Fetch witwen fen da aban papaba. Anwa, ya kase just 6 months in office. Fetch rating trader Ghana if junk status. Ngura MPP zen kashem 8 years ago. Ana international capital market nkrokro ahro biam pedo onye Ghana be business no aban papa ma just 6 months no yefi CCC aba be negative chede we now have strong macroeconomic indicators positive one our chede reset agenda no record.
But this achievement was not in vacuum, was site BB in the wodi beduru hade anamebua.
Inflation is fast declining.
Asema making you are going inflation. Messi. Nyautel. This achievement was not in vacuum. What was TTBBR OC 2024 or 20 somewhere? Them yes. What Nina or a factor. Nina a factor. And I've been in the count.
Tama. That means a man na can wash us. But you was short term and long term economic policy. Look,
okay.
Inflation, whatever policy and people do go acquaintment. Now, as at this June 2022, inflation was hovering more than 50%. in the case aban papa inflation is 18.4%, and Fitch is projecting that we'll end the year with 15%, and then 2026 will be 10%. Aban papa, the strength of the Ghana, the city is gaining strength. We feel in the being here 10 Ghana cedis is the kwesi bringing $1. Now sooner aban tan people about one. Now being here 17 Ghana cedis, 16 Ghana cedis to get $1. Today there's resurgence in investor confidence. Now unkofu kondo there by investment or Ghana, the FDI was actually negative. But aban papa benti nkofunda wono kwan ado de oba Ghana na wabaye business wa atasa inti the city appreciation am a cost of importation. The sika Ghana importers won here dodo won here wo the importing zamaban aban papa wa be opokwa adwumane down head of economic management team ama city appreciation akosu the minti yen here sika kuma bi da kakran zamaban ni sunsu ande pressure where ye fi consumers want to look NPP but now got 1,000 liters of fuel. It costs around 17,000. 1,000 liters of fuel, 17,000. The same 1,000 liters of under Jomaham is 10,000. It's 1,000. In the cheddar, there's a windfall of 7,000 savings free. Okay.
Right? Father, I say.
Oh, man, is that?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, but I see.
But mention, my mention, and I mean,
okay. All right. But I see. Okay.
Now, milk man. Nana Commander 8.
Commander.
Okay. He's a man of peace, and he has shown leadership. If you put to Juma and man papa no to the commander best sa ejesuman oguda o to one nkratse na na rocho onyi kom penfu to anya commander nkutimpo kei the entire kei the na komodo my minister so minchia na kondua on the July na obezi Bakatwe.
Yes.
Right.
I think fall on 1st of July and I'm a yes.
Na mi fi commend the as na me elimine edinanyi so nti mi chem na kondia so nda youth na work demonstration ya best one ya best one ya buta na busy him more than 25 years.
Yes.
So, right. Yes. I'm told more than 20. Yeah. Eba zintina in there will be said amas.
All right.
We sa him fi amaye. And he fe. Ntina na wo akomapazima edina.
All right.
Nti enta nature na ohia hen youth no odi odatecho man. So ye be free unity haso a na ye be brand mpuntu ase.
Okay.
So wo menya ko.
Father, okay, medasi. So the International Ratings Agency attributed the upgrade to Ghana's successful restructuring of $13.1 billion in Eurobond debt, ongoing fiscal consolidation efforts, and an improved macroeconomic landscape. So yes, abane wabono modern YAB, but this rating was not in vacuum. I mean, what attribute some of gold board. Hey, Father Casford. Oh, but Father, but make a day the successor and the you could do them ratings, you know, pay or your Fitch or attribute it being so to or 13 billion euro bond and also. And I'm able to do them in Pempendi. Okay.
For the date, you know. Yes.
Into now, Abeni Bay because of that restructuring into
MPP, no. Man,
but what one cheer?
No good old at the pensions walk striker.
First strange
go. Okay. Into oya aban papa waba abanun there and answer phone what does.
All right. Father Bedasi, Mesma at to free record. It was a high Kastle 90.3 FM. More messages in the number 0244743143 0244743143. Now in Komo, you're streaming live into Facebook, then also on YouTube, Kastle 90.3 FM. Na yenzi in Komo ewo aha Now, Yarisha in common sa Yensha si in free her. Should the Supreme Court justices be capped or not? Ninyina, this question has arrived based on Nancy Yara or the Supreme Court nominees are all converting. You will be no more free that it shouldn't be capped. It be so say it should be capped to 20. You do 20. There shouldn't be any Supreme Court appointment again. The question you be saying that should it be capped? Before the election, the OCC with regards to the Supreme Court justices issue, the current president believed that it should be capped. Should we amend the constitution on that aspect? Anna. But Mr. Simfree, father.
Yes. Ghana judicial system, in fact, cases stayed long in the various courts of this country. It has some cadence Supreme Court, 1 year, 1 can we. They call High Court, Circuit Court, District Court, years in a 1 car assembly. But look, with the Supreme Court, I think that already the suspended Chief Justice, Tokono, that together, there seems to be a lot of job work at the apex court, and with that regard, we'll be here more justices at the Supreme Court. Ghana, with respect to our total population, if you compare that of USA, then I would say that we should have 9 justices at the Supreme Court. There's no need to appoint more, or we shouldn't have more than 9 justices at the Supreme Court. Though the current constitution makes it open that you can appoint and appoint and appoint. But at any mature point in time, we should have 9 justices or at justices. But I think that say US crowd get a whole 36 states or so, we get 9 Supreme Court, over 50 states, or 9 Supreme Court justices are. Then Ghana, we cannot go beyond that.
But I'm the once one system or rule every state to be answered need Supreme Court. For that, sir.
Every state has Supreme Court, and the state US has Supreme Court, and the various states in the US has Supreme Court. Ghana, every region. So we said the 2 US are. A state in US will be a region in Ghana. Every region has a high court.
But not a Supreme Court.
Not a Supreme Court. Yes. Into also in there. What have we identified the cost involved? Say yes, for 20 and 30. You sikadutua burden audible to taxpayers in Nodana. Have you also thought of the resources involved? Do we have the resources to have 20 Supreme Court justices? I think we should look at the efficiency, the principle of efficiency. Even in Zamadam, the current judges at the Supreme Court, why efficient? Can we use little resources to come out with higher output? I think that is the way to go, because we used to have 10 regions, and now so because of development in Puntujumenti, some of the regions in the 16 regions. As I'm saying there, having created additional 6 regions, has the problems, or have the problems of these regions been solved? You get regions, but in Puntujuma, on paper you have 16 regions, but about those regions, you see abject poverty. You get several constituencies. We used to have 99 constituencies, we moved to 180 something, now 276 or so. But the problems still exist. It is not about the number of constituencies, number of regions, but how efficient are we in the utilization of resources. A clear evidence show as far as the creation of the regions and constituency are concerned. So why they would delay cases called courts would delay? Is it intentional? The delay, is it because we don't have enough judges? We should launch research into that and not just into say, I'll appoint 20 more justices. Now, problem than one, are we going to appoint more? If we move from 14 and add to the giant, it's capping 21 or 30, and we still have problems, cases delayed at the courts, are we going to say we should appoint more judges? I mean, that would be warped logic. So I think we need to deal with the inefficiencies in the judicial system, and we cannot keep on adding. Let's put a seal there. Nanado Ben, he took advantage of the loopholes in the constitution. Now appointing more, but I think that one firm for swine then, and bread or mano into young share. And then the essence are working in that they want to adjudicate cases in a very fast manner. But in the coin there, the Constitution of Ghana cannot determine the number of crimes that can be committed in this country. The Constitution cannot determine the number of crimes that we can commit a day in this country. But we can determine the number of judges that we have in this country. In this yes, 619. Yes, so in some people also court. Are we saying there's a crimes in all Kosura? We need more judges.
Father, maybe are you in some or court or crime related? It be a civil.
Yes,
as I said.
Yes, yes. You know, some crime cases, but you're in some
yes,
in some no cacao. In cases in narrow Kosura. Nessa, kade workload no abaye too much for them. Are we always going to appoint more judges? Look, so eco-educational institutions in the universities, for instance, a lecture will be lecturing about 100 students or 200 or 300 students. One lecture can lecture what 200, 300, 500 students. It's because 1,000 students. It's because the university to me them. Then at the university we should employ millions of lecturers there. Look at the number of students there. But they construct a huge classroom, provide the needed resources, the speakers are microphones or the backers. So I think attention should be focused at resourcing the court system, providing the needed resources. Can they employ the modern technology in fast tracking?
As one of the justices was emphasizing on electronic filing of cases.
Exactly. But it's not about the number of judges. Say, employ more or the burden about to Ghana for another. Judging you could be some a kawaii in a yabo or one judge every month. Now, eben in fossil economically, no other or man. So cases about 3 years, 4 years. The cost system is inefficient. One case that was 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. Then I say, well, baby gentleman, baby, what's what the prison for 25, 23 years? Ni judges or my judges or my some court at the court for 23 years. So inefficiency in the system is what we must deal with, and not appointing more judges to become a burden on the Ghanaian taxpayers. Yembisa resources are here. Now former one, but the constitution, we should take advantage of the constitutional review exercise in our record. Now, Kobaya, put a seal on the number of judges that we can have at the apex court. I think 9 is okay, but I'm not a law student. I'm not a lawyer. But listening to one of the nominees to the Supreme Court, he proposed 20.
20.
Yes. So, and the suspended Chief Justice also said that we hear more judges at the court because of the workload. So based on these two anecdotal cases, maybe we may shift from the 9 and say grant the 20. And then we should make it a law that at any material point in time at our Supreme Court, the number will be what? 20. So that our president being bad to then another or increasing in 40, 50. Into constitution and
President Nana will increase now 40 and 50. But Father,
about 29 say 8, not do call 14.
Father, but the constitution is silence on the number of Supreme Court judges to be appointed.
It is true, and that is what I'm dealing with.
It is so Obi appointed Supreme Court judges are. Yemi said, is it out of order? Is it against the constitution?
Legally, it is not out of order.
Yes.
But economically, it didn't make sense. Yeah, in Benham Okwane, I'll point more. In Yemi said the 14 and another appointing, Eben for soon or that brain. Yemi said 14 Supreme Court justices now would go on about Sumia Uton or God. Eben for soon or that brain.
So Orukon will get 14, but the current 1.14.
He came to meet 8. I have the data here. He came to meet about 8 justices or so, and he added more. Into about 2 8. Okay, Ja 8. Ja 8.
Okay, so
8 do call 14, and I am right because constitution manhokwan. Let's have a seal.
Okay, so Father, you draw this perspective into the appointment in Ibisu based on Ibinima what call retirement. Our appointing yes, or be the same. Now the question I may be saying there. Now with the number of about 3 appointment to become 14 or whatsoever. When President Akufo-Addo offered office, we have about 14 Supreme Court judges. Now His Excellency, the current president, needs to about point 7 to add up to it.
Sure.
So if more a chrono is wronger, why not there? Now we are adding more. You are talking about economically not sense in that manner.
Yeah.
So currently, what we are doing, is it economically sense based on your argument?
For the current appointment, His Excellency Joma Mayan, economically it makes sense. It makes sense,
but
because
then it wasn't.
It didn't make sense, and I'm going to explain. It makes sense because Ghana, Yensika $20.4 billion. Ekizin kofi bi wa ye kwa kajaba. Na the make scan ye kwa kajin through orano. Ye here the court. Na wa boa Ghana for ya kaji the miska no. Into said they appoint more judges ako. Na ye judges kanaba. Dramama couldn't rely on the judges waka for one ben. And another ka for one ben. More about one. You will so be there. Said ye base to them judges in ye da kokwa. Ye bezin kuku. Ye bezin kuku into young new judges. Now one boy and fight with the aura. And that makes this current appointment 7 economically beneficial and wise. Because at the end of the day, our $20.4 billion will be retrieved for Ghana.
So this Supreme Court judges our point one is because of the aura. Internet President Mahama our point one.
Yes, we have an ambition of retrieving the stolen money and stolen lands.
So court one panel the justices another year. I mean the Chief Justice and now the acting Chief Justice on yet automatically that these 7 justices about point on a one case.
Sure. You see.
So what you are saying, I don't get it. And they are working as a professional judge.
Exactly. Let us not gloss over clear corruption at the court. Is it June? What Ghana judicial system?
I mean, we cannot establish. I cannot establish the fact here.
I was Anas Arimea. I investigations the judges me watching Chin, Brazil, Banchin, Anyo. That this Yemen getting or influence one judgment. And say what judge are urging Chin, appointing no make cases are. Let's say the court is corrupt. Into one for several years, no man young puntu. Now politicians are all background is one quarter no way one. But I mean now my young could be a Banchin, Obini. Brazil, one flank in court was able to see, sir. But the big fishes in the society, either were backing of the courts and some judges.
All right.
And we need to, Mahama want to deal with that. And the head of the judicial is very critical. Mpako other court now, orchard, I will get the Mikesi, cut the Mikesi, you don't know. Master, or influence, Papa. It's a good, efficient a God-fearing chief justice ɔman no yɛbɔkɔ court ɔman no bɔkɔ court yɛbɛzi nkuku ɔne ntina yɛnyɛ fight paa dɛ maame tɔkɔ no ɔbɛkɔ akɛte no afie sɛ ɔpɛ dɛ ɔyɛ kyikyi adwuma yɛbɛma no class wɔ akɔ akɛkyerɛ ase ɔpɛ dɛ ɔkyɛ do secondary school adebama no na ɔngya court na yɛmfa new chief justice mbra na dɛm chief justice no ɔmpanel new judges to sit on cases by July or August yɛbɛhyɛ asɛ da kɔ court no ama yɛagyegye dɛm sika no ɛza aba sɛ yɛnyɛ good chief justice yɛnyɛ God-fearing judges who are non-political but wɔn a wɔfiri dɛ yɛreso yɛn party dɛm mp ɔde bɛgye manyimi ɔyɛ npp nti case men twisting look at the ruling of there me best set in Chadam Ghana. It was political. We want judges who will not give political judgment based on party affiliation. Okay. And so we need to deal with the corruption.
All right, Father,
it is not about the number of judges. So we can agree on 20, right? Let's conduct research. I think there should be consensus.
All right.
And consultation. Ghana for 20 judges at the Supreme Court. So Omando dun kada yanjin tuma. Let's go by that.
Okay.
Then you put a seal. So the constitutional review exercise on Rukono, it should be an opportunity for us to put a seal and not continue with that error. The current constitution is a mayano. Okay. Because the current one when put seal until now, President Biana no appoint MP.
All right.
To go Supreme Court.
Father, may I say, or appointed justices, not NPP people. Supreme Court justice young capital to a certain number. This is the number. I won't take president take and I will be take advantage of the loopholes in the constitution to appoint more justices.
Mother Sibia na mechia munu anoma na ne da wire press conference was sweet Elmina. Remember when I come on to him because a man when you youth na when you want to let's say assembly banner and chiro and tasa nkofunti press conference and say nkofunti demonstration and say sibi ye tra no chede aka assembly ma we free into rochwa adwen o de sido the man why press conference so be we kissing kitanwuzi bi ina asam no ontumi be de zimo intima srahwan they ya can't to extend the yama ye krom o mahin omba bakitezi I wanted the yesre do woni nanim wunya botar na asemi bia ni wa was a second trip anuya na was eden was a baka ye eden aro ye mbanzu nini ye eden aro ye krowra nti se mentem ho asibama oye dem wo mu kro no na enyiminyam no oye orukofom.
All right.
Na yereka the whole Ghana eden na broni beya oboso face nti edena ya grow nti edena yetedo papa abrofo be the whole Ghana edena na oboso face nti onimpo ye wono ho nwuma yato ye de kai de edena ye ikro oye manankasa emena wa kro munya edena nkote na oye men pain nti me street Elmina me said the min sim dem we si be o ma akomontoye mbra na betena ona enya ye sisi na asomodwe wa aba na ya abom na ye to ebaka na wa ye feel wa friend and kwamena Supreme Court judges may start with baby and my brother for the Kastle or ending sure MPP woni there's actually any team the MPP was Supreme Court judges so because abandon or are appointing into maybe said there say NDC if you are being gone na another party should be hand over no so appointing judges who Supreme Court no so be MPP NDC Supreme Court judges I wanted the other ye if you or qualify there or be a judge no are appointing and send him pen and qualify why the other are appointing qualify wa point to say yeah one and AK we be converting and ever go through vetting after vetting no na passer na be dem judge no Supreme Court and me ye wiem free the Supreme Court nkotin no was asap in same be so the district courts that's problem ya one day and ye judges na ya appoint one day won be ye ejuma no ejuma na worry yen ona na worry yen pepper na Say ye Ghana sika foto me sika. Ne ye zi tuyo wane kaw. Na sa asem to me kada imbremni ni nanim. No di mfie num, mfie sia, mfie sona. Ena anu ye kra ya na ade ye bay. Ena anu yiri bi sede. Yen to me nkala yen forma. Yen ma me okọ suspension. Nche wan sacken. Or suspension okọ. Sacken or different from suspension. What's one thing a baby kakra? Sacken so che de me yi wezi. What's one thing a baby kakra no hwehwe na same. Sa kwanya abam was 9 no on so one. Ni bi so wa ma ne concerned in the yemye ni 20. And with the appointing of judges no. Or the same as appointing of minister. Because court be under do. Nti bia to my appoint normal na nkasa ope. Se court da do there appoint minister 5 eba constitution mbrona ezi mumanda mo no se. Until the man be the first term or appointed day. Previous this current government, the previous government, to appointed 88 ministers. Ana ne yakasa. And the abenso we fi abem no so the previous the first term no so appointed 125 for se bibi. Yakasa. Ina say say wa bebie ma o se meleto me ministers no do. Oyo no no when you 2 minutes ye di Ghana 2 minutes ye zaman. Na 2 minutes no won nsam no so ma kwanya de. Onto ma appoint the ministers another judges no won be adwuma wo Supreme Court. Enti say ye kade yan former president appointed 14 na me ye wi free there. Ibinum no one time in office waso. Say away. Enti so time in office so if you know was for free then was in a best
because of the retirement age
on intra because what time I had that was so I'm for from best so a gab na that what they were empty by yakade yake ora na ND's MPP judges no one tum no one boa no yenji ye ni sika katahye na yaka wa asam no wa kodru binuma. No, Supreme Court judges one you Ghana in ye. Say ye funny dama. Come let us say. When you Ghana in ye, it's not one who won't you call by party.
But by judges who won't they were appointed by
my brother
Father Kastle.
Some more
I know NDC standpoint, you know.
No, so make sure with that. Take or retire summon. Say ye can day. Or run a waka research happen. Ye ni sika ni Ghana no man pay no way to moko. Past government also katasishe no pro ruku aman Ghana. Nti ye ni sika wa konko for bo hwe no wa den waji. Ni na ka no Supreme Court judges number ni shoot ko su no. Because wo boboa. At the end of the day abezi na ye muni. Since us da why ora waderba. Ana Ghana fi I ready the yebo hwe. Asama owom. The Supreme Court judges no one was appointed by former president. This MPP ni ba.
You won na former president or appointed one.
With there also no appointing one. Say be ordered and son or appointed.
Yes.
There's no appointing one. So what ba? Obakado ye MPP ni or ye day no ye day. Ena ariye Ghana Juma na there resuma party. Ahana problem no. Because the target behind another number behind the winty, it behind Quenya no so upon our point. Judge ko Supreme Court. I was no soon. Because number in the ho. Atasa. Say yes, young phone call 20. Say sorry, I joined the course. We made the city to dollar where the 10 cities. But economy no still into me and box back. As I say. Yinjina ye nan do there ye Ghana for. Ghana ni baby antu minja na nanu ye. Sazana returner oyen kakran say ye tumi ye dru baby a ye dru. By Supreme Court judges. Ejuma wa ye Ghana no ona na ye Ghana for ye nyu so a ahane problem. Ibeja asamba kwa kadan court. Even a simple district courts. It will take long time. If you feel offended the way we boy 7 1 boy, or high courts, No zoko Supreme Court. Ni na on yesika sama.
Na maybe say case charo court judges in a year blame one another, the prosecutors another. I don't know. I want to blame one because judges don't present case.
Oh yeah, no quite. Nyabota. Prosecutor not no one. Ewa udile our bed.
A judge has nothing to do.
To me,
until a case has been presented.
Or the no reports in a judge. But on me there, judges no are appointed by government inti. Tina blame me what my judges. At a hanasa. The ben a worker summer. At the worker day, they were like a lawyer. At be that. And I'm better mobile at a lawyer da. Intermediate no Jamaica always in case no ewa. At the issue apart from the Ibiano wakaji corruption be a kodo. Then is not and way to my album. But as semi be was judges. The same thing on me there ministers no why your bona ewa. On appointed by government inti. Not the boys no from why your bona was now. Maybe so.
For boys.
I say I ain't what one is now?
Okay.
But my year can there. Young judges are some ye politics. Yen fame. Judges no waswa. Until our point to be a new one account, near silly there. Number of 20 no bottom and wide and wabwa. I bezin in a yen judges 20. A honey problem. You'll fight against corruption. Judges, if no research or the boss judges bribe our point.
Do we need a capped number of judges before we can fight corruption?
Yeah. Because someone way up to my boy. Saving way three judges. No, what's worry boy? Won't to my boy. But to my boy. Oh, no, catch the imbrana is a bumano. So ye nimpo wa anka wa number. She a opposition, Kwamina, a sink won you day, and I sinker, one summa. Make an American sumo, your Cashan sumo, now bomazan from sumo payer. Now consume my back at it. Moton swim. Or send the opposition when you met to the constitution as a bumano. And Brano, why you that dog? I don't know, man, dear, that Ozil Conechi. But so, when you baneba, no, we be free there, Cadamasem. You fight against corruption.
All right.
You hear judges. There were judges right now. 14 judges. Anna Kwamna. It's 14 judges. No. Opera catch a Ghana for the 1-2 when you may be our Orana Yakafabanoa.
Someone the one cafe.
The man of Mirabisa. Oh, they are pointy big one sana. The man summon America Chamber brother for the cast for the day. Oraka there. Oh, run a while, but one put the NPP, JG Biara. Oh, my McKay, previous yes, you know. There, what by Bem also I'll point to one judges. Which is wrong.
I don't want to
say, Kwamina, Yereka, young one day, and man on a Yarosman. Say, Yerka say, ya, when you want but my politicians in your radio station, Yakaya Mayas and after election, no politics, Anna. But in the radio, in the TV, or may take what in some more record a man into the year, a man yes. Tis our point now. Able free the judges, no, was some man some sort of call to say delaying bombing into our point to become one. Ya restraint, woman still number. Umbra.
Okay. You remember the but according to Justice Mensah, fortunately, Nyamran Sahin. Amosma, sorry. Amosma hid. Yes, or you know Amosma. The Nizin there, also Supreme Court Judge nominee Justice Philip Bright Mensah has called for a significant increase in the number of judges at the Supreme Court, suggesting that the bench should ideally comprise 20 justices to effectively manage the growing caseload. The reason to manage the caseload at the Supreme Court. Now, you share these little statistics. Also, the Supreme Court concluded only 344 out of 939 pending cases in 2022-2023 legal year, leading to a backlog of 595 cases carried over into the 2023-2024 legal year. Now, so we are looking at now your backlog of 595. A new legal year, there are more cases coming. So, in a nutshell, more cases will be having backlog. Do we need more judges? Another, we need to empower them to carry their work effectively.
Okay, Kwame Medase. This is a pure legal issue we are talking about. First of all, let me create the caveat that I'm not a lawyer. But anyway, I don't need to be a lawyer to talk about the constitutional issues. So let's make progress. First of all, Abanten Yeboduha because there's a certain power according to Article 144, 1 and 2, given to a certain president there on appoint 1 the Chief Justice, 2 justices of the Superior Court, And that power, there's no cap to that power. So it gives room for the discretionary, way of appointing
more judges.
Judges. When you are an authority, one more discretionary, 296 of the Constitution says that in your application of a discretion, you must be seen to be fair and candid. So the first question I ask is that, first of all, what is the problem we want to solve with this question, whether should we cap or not cap? How about problem no one to when necessitates this conversation to cap or not to cap? But personally, I think that we need a cap. To me say personally, say a bisa amia makade we need a cap. And there are a lot of reasons why I say so. But before I go to the reasons, we are a group of people you pay a cowboy. We are a group of people you pay them every time you pay room there so that we are able to do things I pay. First of all, you call the executive. Say about the appointment of ministers, like he said, there's no cap on it. Damn Ghana for politicians pay. Every time we want the opportunity there, you have the room to do what we want. Listen, we practice a common law system in Ghana. Kenya practices a common law system. United States of America, common law system. Canada, common law system. If you go to Kenya, that have a population of over 50 million. Ghana is just about 34 million or so. They have 7 Supreme Court justices. 7. If you go to Nigeria, per my checks, I think they have about 21 or so. So both of them, they have a cap. If you go to the United States of America, they also have a cap, 9. But beyond the 9, there, if you're appointed a Supreme Court judge, you do it for life. So there are persons, they are not active Supreme Court judges to say, but they are superior Supreme Court justices. Into a number of cases I was in OSA or FOM. Again, you ask a very important question that His Lordship Philip Mensah says that a backlog of about 500 or so cases, right? Out of 900 cases, that is about over 60% of all cases that go to the Supreme Court. Question is that if we appoint a lot more people, is that going to solve the backlog now? No. Because we did not start from 14. We started from not less than 9. So 9 and the Chief Justice went to 11. Now we do 14. The more we are appointing, the more we are getting backlog of cases.
The more we are appointing, yes, the more we get backlog of cases.
So it stands to reason that it is not the number of judges that will solve the problem of the number of cases at the Supreme Court. That's 1. 2. In 2010, His Excellency Professor Mills of blessed memory was setting up a committee, the Professor Fiajo Committee, that one share constitutional review. They will make propositions. Now, one of the things I was sharing there, if you look at the white paper issued by His Excellency the President then, John Dramani Mahama, the government agreed that there has been a proposition or a proposal that, Supreme Court justices yen cap into 15. But see a cap now, on your entrench the constitution so that moving forward it will be easier to amend.
And we are talking about the same issue.
Yes, it's actually the president today, John Mahama, agreed that as Abanu Yeji Tumude, young cap into 15. Then candidate Akufo-Addo, who became President Akufo-Addo, also agreed that also young cap into 15.
So then what happened?
That's the question you need to answer. Abazintina, then when it's
Senator Crime may be saying them. I mean, somewhere in July 2024, this current president, Nusu Oya the Oba Benima Oba resurrected the constitutional review on the capping of the Supreme Court justices.
Okay.
So if we had white paper, then he was a president. When we implement, he's still promising. I mean, revisiting the constitution, and then the capping issue. Politicians, are they playing tricks?
That's why I'm telling you that we're a group of people and this is a conversation we have had as far back as 2010. One per candidate Akufo-Addo kede no so pede or cap into 15. Obey President Akufo-Addo, did he cap it to 15?
One cap?
No, one cap. Rather, he also set up another review committee, the Lawyer Kastle committee, and they also came out and said different things, saying that, members of parliament, young cap, ministers, young cap to 25, and all of that. All those things, I think during the Kastle committee, they didn't even issue a white paper on it. It was just not implemented, waste of money. Now we are back to the same conversation that whether to cap or not to cap. What's in then? Now that we are getting a lot more judges in cases in Bebre or Stall, so getting a lot more people unsolved problem. So for me, my answer is that we need to cap it. But say a cap now, how many are we capping it to? Yeri January 14 analysis here new justices are being vetted. 7 more plus 14. Onyenboda in 21. In the same kakawa, then ye January 21 wara na. Another ye cap na, ye back up into 30, 35, 40, 15, 16. And even whilst we do that, what will go into our decision to cap it? Because we have to do a certain consultation and research so that we'll be able to answer the question that you're capping at this number, that is what is going to help. Now let's do a simple mathematics analysis. See, our 14 justices of the Supreme Court as we have now. Now 900 cases now occur Supreme Court. That will mean that over a period of 1 year, if my mathematics is right, every judge is sitting on around 30 cases. Now, the Constitution itself makes provision there. Say a judge of the Supreme Court, and we have the Superior Court and the lower court. But if a judge of the Supreme Court say opia, the Chief Justice can agree that say there's a matter at the Court of Appeal, they should have another judge or justice from the Supreme Court now on Ketina Court of Appeal as an additional judge. Already, you are complaining that cases are all go on to the Supreme Court and Odosu. Why accept to go and join the Court of Appeal, which is also a Superior Court as an additional judge? If say load no dosa, then I think that reasonably you'll be looking at reducing the load. Why there's some of them will rather want to increase the load by going and sit on other cases on Court of Appeal. Again, you're making it clear there. It is not every case we are not Supreme Court. So, on here, all manner of cases are Obako District Court, High Court, no but to Supreme Court. The Constitution is clear. If you read 128, 1, 2, 3, it tells you that the Supreme Court deals with what? The interpretation of the Constitution. So largely what they do is the constitutional matters is what they look at. Which is why people are proposing that if you go to, for instance, South Africa, they have a constitutional court. And one justices or one judges were about 6 or 7. And then there's a Supreme Court. So that's the urban interpretation of the constitutional. Take it to the constitutional court. But I listen to Sir Dennis, And he also makes the proposition that, look, if you have a constitutional court, ABR over a period of 1 year, and one case, you pay no have a constitutional court.
So the judges there know what are they doing? Yes.
So you see, whilst I am for the capping of the justices of the Supreme Court, I think that we cannot just stand up and decide there, okay, here near paint, engine or 21 and engine or 15. Something must go into the decision, the engine or 21, engine or 15, or engine or 30. But let us sound this word of caution to all politicians. You see, I mean, the judiciary is the hope of every country, because the executive have discretionary power vested in the president. Read 57 of the Constitution, and all of that. Then there is the legislature, which is headed by the Speaker of Parliament. They also do their own thing. But when there is a clash, a disagreement on any matter, one of the it is the judiciary. So they are the hope of the ordinary Ghanaian on the street. Let us not enter the court with our politics. Because if you do that, it will become dangerous for all of us. Today, because of some the confidence and were court it has reduced. If you look at the last Afro barometer, the confidence and court it has reduced drastically. And once we are having this conversation, let's sound this word of caution to the politicians also. But cap the number of justices. We are not making it entrenched. You see, it will become much ado about nothing in the future. Because see a cap in agent 144 say president 1442. What's the president about to appoint justices of the Supreme Court? And to say a cap were even 21. Ni agent on your entrenched article in the Constitution. Another president be bar about to set up a constitutional review committee to amend maybe a cap ni agent because honestly pedo appoint more. So even if we cap it now and we leave it as it is, you solve a problem there. To solve the problem, no, see a cap at 21 yema on your entrenched position, and this is the reason why. Say your entrenched positioner, it will become very difficult for any party and our president government to be over there or changing. Why? Because for entrenched positions of the Constitution, you need to, in addition to Oboko Parliament, Oba Gazette, obviously a 3 months between the first and the second gazetting and the reading and all of that, you must have a referendum. And the Constitution says that in having that referendum, at least 40% of the people eligible to vote to you must vote or turn out. Out of the 40% of the people eligible to vote, over 70% of those who voted must vote yes. It will be extremely difficult for anybody there. Also, the cap in the year near the Constitution. So this is my proposition. I support the capping, yes, but if we are going to cap it and amend the Constitution, yema onye entrenched so that it becomes difficult for anybody in the future to touch it. But if we are going to look at capping of the Constitution, I think that first of all, you look at the number of cases that go there and the type of cases that go there. Because look, if the Supreme Court sits and the Court of Appeal or the High Court sits, Constitution says that if there's a matter at the Court of Appeal and there's an interlocutory application, and that is taken to the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal must stay its hand on the matter for the Supreme Court to hear it and give a ruling before it comes back to the Court of Appeal. Meanwhile, all of them, from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, when you were Superior Court. So what is it?
Okay. You know what I say?
What is it?
All right.
So moving forward, Nukama, these are things we can easily do. Mm-hmm. Let's look at the number of cases. Let's look at the types of cases. Let's look at the quorum of the Supreme Court. Listen, if we have 14 justices of the Supreme Court, Constitution say at every material time, there are 5 of them must sit on a case. Mm-hmm. 5. If there's an appeal, add 2 to make it 7. Now we have 14. There are over how many? 900 cases that go to the Supreme Court. 5 must sit at every given time.
So the 2011 report, and I have it here. Now maybe the issue on the composition of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I say government accept the recommendation that Article 1281 be amended to provide for a maximum of 15 justices, and it should remain non-entrenched.
I want a problem. No.
Yeah.
It is our cap no 15, no a non-entrenched. The same government now saw cap no 15. After a year, about to my constitutional review committee. Now I can do Yako. Yes, what's 15 no Osa. Into young terminal for being county and from 28. But yeah, and entrenched are obey there ordinance about because although obey elections and sign with 2 million.
All right, but I say, Father, yes, today maybe a report. There was a report that this is the 2011 reporter, maybe on constitution review. Now, the composition of the Supreme Court, as I've read, is it not the same issue and we are confronted with? And the suggestions, baby, because if the government then will accept that Article 1281 be amended to provide for a maximum of 15, so that is the silence on the Article 128, that silence be through, so that now we have a say that we are having 15 Supreme Court judges. But there is another issue that it should be non-entrenched.
Yes, man. No question there. I think a positive conversation with the constitutional, as far as constitutional review is concerned. I think the capping is, we all agree to it, a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil. But the issue, I remember the way raised the entrenchment and all. I think the constitutional review committee, if they are doing the listening, why you do man Ghana? No, do you papa suma man Ghana? But my bibia ochina obi take advantage of the weakness of the constitution.
But Father, I don't understand. But I don't understand the reason why at any point in time we need to constitute a constitutional review committee to look into the constitution. At the end of the day,
yeah,
because this one was this report came in 2011, and there was a white paper on it. A decision has been taken. Now we are talking about the same issue.
I'm not sure that on Ghana you waste sika. Now you mount the necessary pressure on leadership to act. Debia sir MPP on your pay follow, or NDs on your pay follow, or a hoyan. And so there you mount pressure. And me may just say there you're too ambitious, John Mahama 2016. I'm the party you're too ambitious. Now what's about if you review constitutional review or coordinate, I hope and trust that the right thing will be done. They have to listen to input of every citizen. And so the entrench is necessary. We need to put, say, the Twitter, nobody can come and change it. But yes, man, a non-partisan judiciary is the hope of Ghana and not the judiciary. An incorruptible judiciary is what is hope for Ghana. You see, you're not doing that. Courts, you're not doing judges, you're not doing or come or man or saying. Into all your born nature, your born nature. Look, main principle in there. A society without the media, a society without a society with government, but just are you listening to me? A society with government without the media is dangerous. Is dangerous and hopeless than a society without the government but with media. Quote me anyway. A society with government but without the media is dangerous and hopeless than a society with media but without government. We need to criticize leadership anytime they go wrong. Again, why cases delay at the courts? Cases delay were courts. Now every month it be asked them judges say what sense them do what jakotia. Is it efficiency? Is it a waste of state resources, I think we need to give these judges KPIs. In case you have 3 months or 4 months to adjudicate the case. Can we also put that into the constitution? May live in blank there, judge as some boy 10 years when it's some code. Into a judge, not as some code, what boy 10 years, or your dawa, and you me there, or your cow burden as the litigant. In lawyer call, on it always in the rich have their way in the courts. Because them lawyers now what can we be? Lawyers now because we are in Pendudua on your court in Debian court. What's your fees be out here? At least about 20 pay to that man.
Yes.
It was a litigant and a bargaining chip. You know, with the corrupt court system and what he how can I didn't say some lawyer but down 10 years and record. I said, what can I do? Na yani ahimfia that some kind of animal or chadama. We have institutionalized corruption in the judicial system. Into the cases in the chadama, but election petitions actually and there we can make our court efficient.
Okay.
So the election case we can make or unmake a nation. And the 3 months, 4 months, what the can mean as soon as you are. Etefo, Eban has entered the same court, the same judges, as some rape some, as the armed robbery cases, case when him, or court when him was the 10 years, 4 years was a car. Bye. Ebay.
I want your take, because of time, I want your take on the term of the president.
Yeah, with the term of the president, I think the Article 66, 66 cross, is it 2 or 3? I think I made the research on that. It's clear that the president cannot go more than 2 terms.
Yes.
It's clear. It's clear that you cannot go more than 2 terms. Now, why this conversation? Ebazintina at the vetting committee, Heninanum MPP for will be sa issue there. Anna, President Botuma Kobiemana. You see, Mamu Fontuga as a communicator of the party, NDC will not even allow John Mahama to go for a second term. We will not even allow President Mahama to go for another term.
Because any time why elapse?
Any time, yes. Even though we can punch holes in the constitution, but you maintain. Oh yes, because constitution is not more than what 2 terms. Didn't say not more than 2 continuous terms. So we can punch holes there. We can look at it. The law said not more than 2 terms, not more than 2 continuous terms.
So on this, I have the review committee report here. My main can.
Okay.
I see the term of office of the president. I see government accept the following recommendations of the Constitution Review Committee that the current term of 4 years with re-election eligibility for another 4 years be maintained. The Constitution should be amended to make it clear that a person who has been president for 2 terms of 4 years shall not qualify to stand for re-election as president. Good. Where the president served for only 1 term of 4 years, he is allowed to contest for another 4-year term after an interval.
Yeah.
But he may not serve for more than 8 years in total.
But okay, he may. I think we should entrench it. May means we can interpret it and it seems to be a loophole in the current 1992 constitution. Okay. We can punch holes and ask the President Mahama to go again because constitution can not more than 2 continuous terms. But as a party, we have the human resource.
But would you also agree with me that on that interpretation of Wano, the court to interpret? Because our understanding, your understanding on it may differ from the
which means
law.
That Mahama another English pedal or San Kobium.
No. I had make a pedal or San Kobium.
No, so a basic interpretation. Who is going to seek that interpretation? The connotation will be there. The current president wish to go again and will not even entertain that attempt. Nobody should go. Thankfully, there's a constitutional review going on, and young stating clear there, you have only 2 terms. Where a first, you lose in the case of your mama, not a son baby ma. You second term where you can't go again. You see, interesting part is that the flag bearer or the president cannot go more than 2 times, but the political party can go more than 2 terms.
Yeah,
the party can go more than 2 terms,
yes.
And that is why, even if John Mahama has any plans of going again, he should relinquish it.
No, okay.
Because the youth of the party will not allow that.
So
we will go again.
Right.
Then this will go for the second
President
term.
John Mahama will not.
Mahama cannot go. He will not go.
Yes.
But then this will go for the second term. We'll go for the third term. We'll go for the fourth
for
term.
that one, the constitution is silence on that.
So for the party will go. We'll go. Then people will stay in opposition forever.
But that's all right. Auntie Mansa, on the term of the presidency, we have a white paper on it. In common.
Kwame na mbrana yezi buma no oni ne bia betina bengo ndo zi buma ana constitution meboa ibia ni baby mbrafufu bia ni baby the 1992 constitution na yezi bu amano the 1992 constitution yara na watro no de akwanya ni de eko first time so men 4 years Inti ono shenkofu wotimi de woko 8 years no. Starting here 4 years. After 4 years no. Na Ghana for nankasa wopia no one more bim another 4 years. No baka no ye 2 term. Eno san kede into munko more than 2 ana ntone nda hwe. Yan current president wakwa no 1 term. Na ne term minimum no. After ko bi won abenya second term na Ghana for se ninze mebi wo wa onso eni. Ona me de imbrana yeze bumana man na akwanya de mfia ni biara yanka kyen na adwen oni ntina yeto aba onka da mfia awotwe osi mfia nan nti mfia nan no ye current president okọ opposition okati na fi ona ne party NDC olusi no we lose there oye yam president o tell de yam papa Jomam we lose olusi with NDC party ana Olusi the NDC party ya no Olusi no ketine fi na changing of government be which is MPP obe serving no 1 term 4 years after 4 years no dey election akwanya be no sane ya that okura biem and we dey watch mu there not more than 2 term timude na na do one try
yes
because oka 2024 no yenuanu ye wo mo rimpo yenwum bi mpo ma Nana Kufade 2024 ya abaji wangumo because da be you want ya
afarefo no
afarefo do twan ka Nana Kufade 2024 ya abati na fomo nda abaji wangumo Nana boko enwa onimi de on sane ya dan on bebiem but Nana do katina fe papa Nana do katina fe wanyi MPP anko because other party no election no what fix another flag bearer was my party and the NDC so what crow fear no what cutting a fear now 8 years now was someone one kasa when this is shame the wapada one old flag bearer and one in the side that when you call Sagana for Bamana Quenya say papa your mama ne second time no receive inti brother so we review po don sanembra Ghana funanka so what to about 8 years. One salary 4 years when me there I won't APP. As na abako would time 8 years because one kasa American
Ghana Ghana no understand this we need to put it into perspective.
Moso I'm double kasi. I want me to each other na go Friday 2024 yeah.
I'm not currently being put through the first time or banyina.
Inyo.
Yes.
Ebi onimi no free the first time or by. I just say nkofu we educating there waba previous. Into the radio is there to abede educate information after that I didn't kakra say na da accept your ye ho kwame na wo ho a
at myself
in me there yan current president nankasa we nyi no so dama ame for the cast for the king my brother king age no so oboa
age as in
one cassette no one fee kita or your boy just say NDC for one po you tinner man of common sending baby to what I say there age you know
age into yes baby the
constitution cannot yes so my for the Kastle but I just that is article 66 into our constitution of your own should be na yenyina no yerusiazi. So article 66(1) I say a person elected as president shall, subject to clause 3 of this article, hold office for a term of 4 years beginning from the date on which he is sworn in as president. Now 2, a person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms.
Problem, but Embrano is a woman.
But Embrano put also sha, so it's an entrenched position.
No, but you see, the Supreme Court through all their rulings,
yes,
have said that it is not in all cases in a shall is mandatory.
Okay.
So, but I will
per their interpretation of the law. Yeah. Okay. Antiman say we.
My father. Kwamina. And one what church constitution.
Yes. Yes.
In Tiazuko, no worry, Trema. Or one course so no opinion or was a betrim. Or beyond a corner for the channels are so. It has a shall no. Be better as there shall no. Own to me no yet on cobium. Bishop better as there shall no. Or ya as some other was say. Emma. Ye koma obotum no wayede wa kobiem because one servant chedo atasa
okay
ibi so be trust there sha no che there wa ba credit da dompo no wa sana ba ontum yede on kobiem o we kone bia de tre na samas
all right
by see say ya sama ye can embranum say not more than 2 term ibi aso nyimi there Ibia Robert na bengo no so ko 2 term. Ye woni bi wa ko 2 term wa sana contest da. Ana
na lot na wasi.
Na lot na wasi nti we na lo mfa ni post tempom ba abo ano. Nti iye wa ba de hwe. In wana wo peda wo ye nsakra kakra wo ye nem bra ye zi buma no. One na oda wo hwe. Na won kwotwe de obotuma asana akọ. Obotuma ye ni day.
Ye botuma ya trigger this closer because at a point in time President Kufuor on my task there even the 4 years maybe the 8 years it's not enough so we can trigger an amendment in this clause.
Mama Kastle intro in Brene Ezibumano ye kuna yeta wana yetro ana the same kuna so botumat now
na ya trigger an amendment
okay na bia na agentra on board there's a President Kufuor kada in 8 years say a project ye one constituency na ye about all the constituency obendema in 8 years baby on to mo nsa he we nduru ho tinanka yesre da won san one man another term fanka won ye 12 years yemfa ne dam tie ko round table na discuss majority carry the vote nti we vote na majority woman won nsa do a me ne ba o chede ya ja atum
okay
but my year can na yin day Embrano was able man yan tasa one watch us na
but that's it Joel yeah just a minute
Bosch for NDC in there Oman John Dramani Mahama
Uncle Bill
will not seek re-election
all right
will not
okay
now any attempt the Yankee seek interpretation of the current article 66 clause 3 also will be a dent on the image of John Mahama. Ye be ye twimfin bi there ache there Oman Mahama no nya na adwendo basic re-election the man no conquer do there
all right okay
thankfully he was signed into law the constitutional review now all called no man paying Mahama sign wabaya new constitution stand with office, so there's no need.
That hopefully because we've had I mean constitutional review report
praise yourself.
Yes.
The social contract. Actually, the social contract.
Okay.
Actually, the social contract. John Mahama on Ghana for signing. He told us, and he told Ghanaians that he would do the constitutional review
before.
As a pressure group, we did the NDC and the youth of NDC would ensure that President Mahama
would sign
the
review. Okay.
So we bet the 1992 constitution. We want to take the opportunity to bet the new constitution.
All right.
By the 8 years now, President Kufuor suggested Uncle be 8 years it's a bad decision.
It was a suggestion.
Yes.
No. I say 8 years is not enough.
8 years is not enough.
The projects are.
Yeah, no, it's a bad decision. Whether 5 years or 4.5, it's a bad decision. Okay. Because on your you can a bad leader like President Akufo-Addo. You
But that's Father Kasper. Joel, can we trigger Article 66? That is clause 2 of the Constitution. And then earlier on I quoted the review committee report on this same article. All right, Joel.
Yes, Kwame Namdasi. Law is also an interesting venture. So urban and Brian interpreted. There are different interpretations by different people, because Obian and Intasi Mosoti. That's why law is always a very interesting venture. In my own estimation, 66 1 and 2 is clear. I mean, who any ambiguity be our word be out there? There should be the addition of continuous to 66 2 to mean that, to make it clear. If you ask me, the Constitution says 66 1. I say 1 term is 4 years. 66 2 says that Obia is entitled to 2 terms. If 1 term is 4 years in mathematics or even in critical thinking, yes, if A, B, therefore A. If 1 is equals to 4, then 2 will be equals to how many? 8, obviously, and this is simple. But you remember that in 2023 or 2024, Ken Crunchy, who is the editor-in-chief of the Daily Satellite or so, took a similar matter to the Supreme Court. That the Supreme Court, unstopped His Excellency John Mahama from running in the 2024 elections. Because if you do a purposive and a proper interpretation of 66, it bars President Mahama the Obotum run for the 2024 election. And the Supreme Court said that, I think he prayed to the Supreme Court that there are some 1 or 2 AB or Peda Ozika, so he's drawing it and he will refile it. For me, if you read what the Constitutional Review Committee also took some time back in 2011 in the white paper now, it does suggest that government belong to the group of people who feel there says a continuous shower or clearer. It does suggest to me that as at the time, government thought that the 66 1 and 2 are too clear. But amazing, me feel there this matter is a closed book. Look, it would do good to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC itself that them conversation here already, they themselves won't encourage them conversation. Because say just about 3 days ago, many young boys be share. They didn't come about politics and the mass in Bopuim. You know what the young boy said? What said the mass is so what ya bokum. So President Mahama and NDC will try the mass and indeed it's true. John Mahama, His Excellency, says that this is his legacy term. He's going to leave a good legacy. Now, President Biaba Ozni Eita, respectfully, no call. Bantana Wangoti 84 call. Asine bed 4 call. next one says one more 4 couldn't count. Do you know what image or impression that creates about you as a person? So I think that on the basis of even the image of His Excellency John Mahama, legacy Opedo Oja, and in the future of the NDC, His Excellency John Mahama, he should not encourage this conversation anywhere around him. And when you argue that Father Casford has spoken, now I can conclusive that even the young people of NDC won't allow His Excellency John Mahama to seek for another 4 years. Because I think that Osa and Obada, then we are heading towards a very, very dangerous area. Look, whether there's a continuous or there's no continuous, 1 term is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Here close school 2 and 2. 2 4 is 8. The matter is a closed book matter.
You want me to say? The Constitution Review Committee said the Supreme Court should be 15 in number. Yes, I've quoted it. Massa, it is not judges who delay cases, but the party involved. There is something called interrogatory injunction by some of the parties. Massa, anybody who tries to trigger Article 66 is going to fail brutal. Even within NDC, some people are preparing to be the flag bearer of the NDC, and Article 66 will go for referendum. And you think those people in NDC will vote in favor? My brother, forget it. Okay. But I say, who told the NDC and Father Casford that criminal cases start at the Supreme Court? When you are ignorant and have a bad case, this is how you interpret things. Oral cases does not go to Supreme Court straight away, and Father Casford and his NDC should learn. But that's it. But when we are home to now, unsu bremi 0244408046 0244408354. Yenzin Komo 0244408046 0244408354. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Nkumsa.
Who say?
Christ na do papa mpocho wonswe.
Na me na do. We are showing them a be Supreme Court thing, you know, I did yenya. You padu do pachi. What can they and French? I'm a president of Mbana Mbakanje and the Washa and Coupon border on buffer. Supreme Court judges 50. If you munko a corridor. Constitution be a subject to review. Until when you are showing here, interpretation and be though. What shall not go on ever with 2 terms to be more than 2 terms.
Yes.
A position is subject to review. Look on the end, this is a majority. About to my review. The one quarter. And the one other year where you cry.
All right.
Constitution is subject to review.
All right. Mr. Gumsa Merasi. Good evening.
Good evening, Uncle.
Mr. Kukubo.
Yes.
You, Papa Pocho Minteo.
Woman,
Ejuma, that's it.
I judge you for a demo. We still want to crowd. They take the course of 10 years. Every year. What you catch me, so no or 5 or 5 or 5. Now, that's all bad. All year. Especially position. You case the ones who put on them. Communicate for possible leader. There is a airport. I am for the airport. They don't play their own structure. How can you get the phone? So I guess I will put that good there will face me.
Okay.
When you get that,
but I say, Mr. Nkumsa, all right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
But your Captain Planetman.
All right, Captain, into.
But the more semi came for Supreme Court, one of me. For you, Why do you say Edna something to the whole for about 10 years? Not movie. But upon politics is that within a second, less than 3 months. Was look up by 2012. What do we upon court? Within a 3 months, I can't maybe. Number some part away. What do you say? Number somebody who do not for about 10 years, 15 years. Only a dog quarter. Never say, and a young man, someone to them. I think about a quote together. Within 3 months, one can be. Because the more some local, they are not local, local, local. Say we pay in court and what some court. Oh, and see you say, okay. No, the man, I point to go. Yeah, you think about the other matter, I don't
what is the assurance that Iwana and the war veteran virtually they will be appointed? What cases are need to be cleared? So we need to know the issue there are cases, but not the appointment itself. But that's it. All right. Okay. So, but that's it. All right. 0244408046 0244408354. Wasubrume na inzi inkomo ewa 0244408046 0244408354 0332097277 0332097278. Good evening.
Good evening, Kwamina.
Yes, sir.
I would make us if you are bra.
Into.
I'm Kwamina. I'm sent to crack case court or charina.
But you mean you more?
Lawyers would it home? Would it because Amala may be some once I'm in there. Sassamano open our the Mexicana what genuine individuals. One would you walk away. Move you well, what if you're wearing a home? And I am one in your separated.
Dawood.
Uncle.
How many brandy you do?
Yes, you brandy.
Sabi, Obia, Abua de assemble or cocotte.
Machetan. That moment, I let me move for no day for you again. And yet that same year is the one as I come on because at some more day I took a wash and what kind of city island. And no, I said that and there at China, we won't pay a cockatoo. No, I said that, oh, I'm a date. Because lawyer no or allow him there next time your originality and you over 500 going. How can? Oh, 80 more door in there. Abani and she say, now that some watch 1 week, no way if you. Oh, I the money, I don't money, and real money, but in Zimbrado.
That would be that. Good evening.
Good evening, your Kwamna.
Can you feel me too?
Okay, Minia, our constitution has me I can 4 years for a concept President Kofo. The time so ya on corner. Then Puna, you cry. No, Casse. 4 years no. Come for 1 year. Fankao na nipa kwa bebano. Let's say what 5 years. So, and yenuan mo NDC for ya feel say dem President Kufo or ka assemble di. And so because no nya dia why ye be say oba esako biu. So, as yenuan mo NDC for as one kind say as my President Kufo kind, or one in Yadri. On what see 4 years no, who do 1 year at the appointee on crop for now cut 3 years. 3 years and yet as some of Kokai and you know this for actually President Kufo, I know it's from XCA, must youth for one NDC for a me see NDC Nicotra Radio Central. Last Friday, or see, it's a constitution that you know, Amoyano. You to be at high, your friends, President Mama, Lechi, on some another term. It's a previous no, you to know, and a piano so uncle. Don't say, Sadly, I give Papa.
Ghana for your entire you made us say. Good evening.
Good evening.
Daddy.
Hello.
Yeah, Pacho into.
Asama Eja Dawood Okan. Kasa na wanka se ye na mmom ma ọta anyin. Hwɛ sɛ mbere bi de baba a wɔ court ma asam wɔ gyina ntam a wɔn hyehyɛ mbere dɛ lawyer biara a ɛbɛkɔ court na mpo judge biribi nti wamba ntuma perform duty bi de bi asam ni yeri di TNT no say the more the day before the next time ababa mfa mawa assembly in the 3 months to court. I'm telling you the gospel truth. Aho na wodidi hen ho no na muhu judge a okachire lawyer there na awo wonyanko lawyer amba na sra kwana ama no different eyo nya de wonyina wo wamba o
okay
ami mo wasam oya mfato na mri yo na menyawo me name ya wasam na wo name ro lawyer amba no ami mo lawyer na da wo lawyer na sra kwana
the opposite lawyer no the opposite lawyer no
and started the assembly na kwa kaka chenda assembly ya start yeridi
okay
enwa nti da ma de no sambra mba de lawyer nyeba ne nja sama o chela ye adwuma ye ntua hwe ma wa ebohu na yi oba abaji date keke abaji 500 oba date keke 1000 de ebo wie na hu sika nyina rasa
but
na Dawood ankan ye so wa mo abende all the chisan na mo tanyim
all right good evening
what good evening yes one
yes sir
chairman yes one fa major data power
chairman mpocho ma for ye hwe mintil ai
I just want to mention boss commander Lurvin. I just want to in fact the conversation for we had out there what discussed it in the first place because muhu the reason that in you are into the NDC mama boko church amount to that for you marking no okay academic summon and then the deal and the men summon there the one I'm trying to move the we had out what discussing because all of our
into chairman ya discussion here based in there President Mahama or bid for AU or ya some opem e of vetting in the years won't come.
Oh, I mean, I would have vetting. Almost judges in the one will be so on the mention. But my mention on you the margin in the first place because you put on the boy and mechanics where they can I want to be a coach interview, general secretary. Research and I said in the first place. I have to be also, you have to be sure to I'm a single anything baby and the also case. If you must say, the conversation, Mammy and discussing you,
Medasi chairman, Medasi. Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, we're from Kastle police station.
All right, Papa, you too.
I work on the issue. I wear a man who are going here. And this old one that day. And you're going to say, what's your new name? Yeah, to the front of man. And you're near battery. And the condition was too much.
Okay.
Hey, for the 8 years, what equity years. Only done which are better. And another 4. It's a 4 year, the man here to hear, I mean, we never go. Yeah, they'll be able to talk to and maybe but what they man but this is you be more all your money here. They have turned out and they have turned to them not yeah, they put yet no, I bear man but I'm local.
All right, may I say, Uncle Abamo. Good evening.
Your friend, 2 missed calls, my position at the start of submit to recommender.
2 missed calls, I won't come into.
Mamincha Huminara, na if you had the Kunyan oil, a fiat Mahankunyi do Kodian, the Kunyan. We were Chero Article 54, Article 64. The what Waba or presidential election. That's the in Sunwa, the Uzi Kunyaman, or non Uzi Kunima, which are the petition to the local Supreme Court. No kade o mampin on tunabu wa bra Supreme Court be declaration we be signere on no tunabu do mampin yo no di koyin na opin wala sede obi officer Binutu, Dake, Ugadu. Yes, on so you should don't pay baby. Over the way, you know what to do when you make a seat, jack us out for money. It is Musude, 1 million for Indian check. Yes, it's a million day. It's to our back. You find it's no God on say, it's no God. Yeah, you are here, Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in Fiji, no you cream, only no you cream, and farmers swearing in and out of it. Let them by opera or another time. Personally, you feel a problem. Yeah, no,
that's it, Papa. Good evening. Have a been your do?
Brother.
All right, me too.
Brother, I want phone man.
Christ now, the one I want to say.
Yeah, some. And then that's why I light out. Manana.
Sir, how much me kind of plan maintenance into what kind of from 6 to 12.
Now, what about 40 years? Was it?
Are you? Who ready on the doing? Isn't come or doing?
Pana. Yani, I judge the phone when I see me working. To be frank and honest. So, in your some of a one park, within a him fee and price and fashion. Because judge, Butu wash when you now some now, Ebiana within bed 3-4 days. What's now that Butu will blossom. None of Lancashire, why do you my one more bill? See, it's a minimum. You get Amra. Your judges sat about a fetch. Wouldn't you ask some of him? Now, send you home for Yasama, walk at the bribe with you. No, I can watch to him. And I do cry him, fee and frank as someone will go for my head. Wow, Hassan.
And as some come, why you be bribed with you?
I mean, some minima come on, cap. God so good in a lawyer or funny Georgina, Yamin Sirat, or what a kept course I caught her. Yamin Sirat, my menapa. Brother, see, you see, what's some of your mob born? Into that judicial service, Senate. Malamijin, oh, simple. Many uncle for the Sobama Wapara.
On Perry, but I see, I've been your doing.
Nah, Mamma Cassa bread and porcho.
Oh, on your one continue while I know.
That my second term, I send me a working. Reform dominate the Conibiado. Brother, Obabado. I pay for your mark is the baby on Pomo. In your Miss Yafuria, your baby demonstration.
Are you
there? Yan to our baby. Let's see John Ramani, Mamma. On chair, do not say Uncle Boshas.
But I see on your own so I in chair. Last call, good evening.
Papa, my kind of I am most and this is the only thing to do. Then I go for that way, be a yard of Wagano. And the kind of what Medasi.
All right, Marshal Medasi. I assume. NPP Jandam propaganda are diverting. If they change the constitution, Mr. Host, what can you do? Hey, I may be some of them. I say, we change the constitution. We change. So we change for the betterment of Yenina. And we change, about Yenina. I have nothing to do. Aye, boss. Anti-Master, Eugene Abra Host. NPP's selling. They should come out clear. Okay, selling what? And what an NPP party? This thing. Oh. Black with Sibrana Bosch Mazimum. Antimansa, my phone in a uncle.
Criminal, so open there. Why a review now? Say you want to know about the whole Ghana.
Okay, you know.
Because never be brave woman. Yankasa see a complain about it. They beat the appointing of ministers. That's what all the target to him. Ministers when allowance or what you know draw soon. He orders near or ye embrana what it's was a 2 and 1. That time, you know, near Doma were a man and Dawson. But Sissia Domini, young wired than or Dawson. This is Sissia Yareka. We change in a benefit in Bonk and Pacro. Obakanya, but we change for good. Oh, no, ye.
But I say, Father.
Yeah, I guess, man.
Yeah.
Ye chair 1 hour to more friend, me chair 1 hour friend, text 1 hour text or testing messages in no cause some my pada my son misido my Ghana free na tase wa come to him there Ghana man penny John Mahama range nebium there 1-2 ambaman impo oye na adwene pa the pressure group within the NDC will not allow it za NDC youth year pill or referendum or kodo or constitution biom constitutional review no the current one there are some loopholes maybe why a cake on it na review no kodo there yan sheza on year na yin loopholes na zin onto them review record but the youth in the NDC year product ko be constitutional review in there say a political party na say contest election wa Ghana ha you will need to win 7 regions before you can be declared president. Any presidential candidate or but contest election wa Ghana more on year 50+1. Rather, you should win 7 regions of Ghana.
The more regions you win, you know.
I know my president, and that is what the youth of NDC is pushing for.
All right.
And when or you're more dangerous, we want to keep NPP in opposition forever because only 2 regions no we win Ghana into review na your constitutional review za yesibe shemi there and sana man your kubi bo win election wa Ghana hen or there you win 7 regions be some that be NPP baba
me that's that father me that's ye je uncle
criminal cases. Yes, criminal cases are dealt with not at the Supreme Court, but in most of the time, no case record to a high court now. One of the judges and lawyers and so we are going to seek interpretation of a certain law at the Supreme Court or one year delay tactics. Instead, them judges in Ghana try a case with high court or district court. Now is a Supreme Court. Quickly, NDC defenders a bubble case in Aceh. Tribunal court.
NDC
defenders at the Supreme Court a bubble case.
Yes. Just a minute, uncle.
Yeah, Medasi. First of all, Yema Ghana Funina no be Otibia. On Saturday, the constitution can always be amended. Say Urban 66 now, you don't need a referendum to amend Article 66 because on here one of the entrenched articles or clauses in the constitution, so you don't need a referendum. And it's good that attempt there review your constitution because what Serbian for a period of 30 years. Until after 30 years, for instance, like what he's saying, can we begin to explore the positives and the negatives of that? I think is going to help.
All right.
Medasi.
Maso Medasi Joe Prayer. All right. NPP party to come to power again in Ghana here, Tofiakwa. The nation builder JDM is doing massive work. NPP, can you see NPP for NDC Napo NDC no size NPP Kenkwa from Boga and Kafufi. Okay. Mr. Host, if the NPP do list mistake, the party will collapse because the problem facing them is too bad. I disagree in policy or implementation, nepotism, violence among the party, and final one is bribery and corruption in NPP during election. JD Simple from Asebu Ekrofo. Boss, my question is, what are the projects and benefits does our current vice president has for Cape Coast or Central Region? Because we need to develop. So I want to know. Thank you. Anointing from UCC campus. Anointing, this question, if they say in your vice president another NDC Fanka or Beyepa. So what if Ghanaian protest for JDM to go for another term? Thank you. I'm Kofi TD from Tamisasi Electra area. Greetings to lawyer Charles. Ghanaians, they will protest in what way? Everything boils down to the constitution. It is a Ghana for protester, then we need to amend the constitution and pave way for the president to seek re-election. It's not a protest. Protest cannot solve anything. That's it. But I say, yanda Lonat today, or a quality product from Blaze GVS Pharma Limited, used for the treatment of malaria in both children and adults. It has been tried and tested by the Food and Drugs Authority Orinti and they learn at what test actually for killing malaria. Malaria or body no, and they qualified medical personnel what test what we would day malaria. Koto Lunat, all leading pharmaceutical shop. No, na answer na bonum Lunat no was DDA. Na we tum no absorb a drone na waye a jumaye pa. Lunat scatter malaria. Betway aviator challenge promo. And they if a aviator fan was this is your final boarding call to take to the sky and become Ghana's aviator legend, exclusive to Betway. And to become an aviator legend, exclusive to Betway, and they was able to win 500,000 Ghana cedis cash prize. On the call Oya Betway. Now also the aviator challenge, you know, for question maybe. What's a free flight daily when you play aviator every day until the 30th of June 2025. Betway get way more. The massive to call betway.com.gh and the na etumedun wa shembi regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. And Jumoku Eyunum the Masuna 31st Herbal Clinic Telecell High Sense and Afi Jumoku Ahrubia Wakaho and our boy Emma Ezi Jumizi Ezi Bro Game Park Munyano or boy na Ezi Bro. Production team headed by Mr. Bernardo Go, Osman FKK, and Afi Black was into train to Facebook, then also on YouTube. And you're missing the combination, man. Yami Aduma in Senesia. Ochana. Have a wonderful good evening. Bye bye.